News.
I'm Mary Corsetti, and this is Fox News.
Listen to be part of the conversation with me, Brian Kilmeade. I'll talk about the biggest stories of the day and get your take along with some of the biggest newsmakers around. Listen live on the Fox News app or get the podcast at briankilmeadshow.com.
The victims of a devastating tornado expressed gratitude that The Onion's three-part series on the disaster was reported with fairness, accuracy, and an unusual degree of sensitivity. Survivors said they were at least thankful for one thing, that The Onion put much more care and insight into their reporting of the tragedy than any competing newspaper, by far. In economic news, a Pulitzer Prize would very much help certain newspapers increase their circulation, resulting in greater ad sales and more revenue to pay their tireless, hardworking reporters, all of whom have families at home to care for. In other headlines, a group known as Americans for Fairness in Awarding Journalism Prizes is asking all Americans to help The Onion receive a Pulitzer Prize. An anonymous man says he will murder 50 innocent people if The Onion is not awarded a Pulitzer. And look at it, it's beautiful. Look, just give us a Pulitzer already, okay? This is humiliating. For more prize-worthy stories and videos, go to theonion.com/review.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Hey, Free Talk Live here. We do a show every single night where you are invited to join us on the radio and talk about whatever happens to be on your mind. You can join us on our toll-free lines at 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. In the studio with you tonight, you've got Ian,
the Reverend Captain Kickass,
and Mark.
And we also have our Discord call-in line rooms, and they will make you sound almost like you're sitting here with us. They really do sound awesome. You can go to discord.lrn.fm if you would like to connect with one of those. That, again, is discord.lrn.fm. And finally, the heroes that we have been waiting for, at least that I have been waiting for.
Finally?
Yes, finally. After months of oppression by various government goons across the United States and around the world, I have been bemoaning the lack of courageous business owners.
Right. I know where you're going with this.
Business owners who are willing to actually stand up for their, what I believe is their right.
Somebody with some balls.
Yep, to do business, to take care of their customers,
Cojones.
To employ their employees, and
testicular fortitude.
Exactly, that sort of stuff. Finally, we got him. Now, look, there was the guy with the 77-year-old barber in Michigan, and he made a stand, and that was awesome. There's no doubt about that. Dude deserves a lot of credit.
There was that one restaurateur.
There was a lady salon owner in Dallas.
In Texas, yeah.
Yep. I don't know the restaurant. Oh, the restaurateur in Maine.
Yeah.
There was one in Maine, and he stood up pretty good. Like, he pushed back when they told him.
He still followed all the, distancing and stuff, but he opened his...
They're all doing that.
He opened his restaurant in defiance of the closed order. So.
Yes. So there have been a handful. Here and there, there have been a handful. But these guys in Jersey, the owners of the Atlas, or Attilis? Atilis, a little different spelling of Atlas, right? Like normally Atlas Shrugged.
It's probably pronounced slightly differently too, but whatever.
Anyway, the owners of Attilis Gym in New Jersey have broken into their own gym. They busted down...
How can you break into your own gym?
Well, like this. Let me play it for you here. This is what they did from their Instagram. Boom. You literally kick in the plywood that the city installed, or the state, or whoever it was, installed on their doors. And we'll get into what happened, why that happened. But these guys and by the way, they just freshly got out of jail. So that's the other part of this. So the state has been cracking down on these guys, including to the point of actually arresting them on contempt of court charges. We reported on that earlier this week. They get out of jail. What's the first thing they do? It's not cower. It's not apologize. It's not try to appease the judge or appease the governor or anything. No, they go and go back to work.
Yep.
And it's amazing.
I mean, it's ridiculous that somebody can go to jail for attempting to provide goods and services.
Yep. Well, in this case, that's not what the charge was. The charge
I understand,
is contempt of court.
Well, right, but basically they were told to close and they refused.
Correct. The owners of Attila's Gym in New Jersey reopened Saturday, that's today, by kicking down the wooden barricades authorities used to block their entrance amid coronavirus restrictions. Co-owner Ian Smith posted a video of himself and business partner Frank Trombetti kicking the barriers in and entering as a crowd cheers their decision. The dramatic display indicated that the months-long standoff between Governor Phil Murphy and the gym owners isn't finished. Smith's caption contained a defiant message for New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy, quote, "You will not trample on our rights, and you will not destroy our lives. We will not back down, ever."
Love it.
Now that is the attitude that would lead to freedom if more people had it.
Yeah, it's the attitude of a free person.
Yeah. If more business owners had this level of courage to just say, you know what? This is our business. We have a right to be here. We have a right to serve our customers who want to voluntarily come in and choose to do business with us. Screw you. We're going to do what we want.
We as a nation are so far from the time when someone would say, I have a right to do business.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
oh, yeah.
At this point, I mean, you got to have permits that come out your wazoo.
That's when you gave up the right.
Yeah,
right then.
Once you have to get permission, it's not a right anymore.
No, it's a privilege granted to you by someone who you think was better than you, apparently.
And
by your owner.
Yeah. The original draft of the Declaration of Independence was life, liberty, and property. And they changed it to pursuit of happiness in order to sort of show that you could do business and do what you want so long as you didn't harm other people.
Yep.
And that was the idea behind it. At this point, you don't have a right to pursuit of happiness.
No.
Now, admittedly, the Declaration of Independence is a rhetorical document meant to throw off the chains of an oppressive government far away so that we can get an oppressive government here a couple hundred years later. But, you know, I mean, Jefferson also believed that every generation needed its own revolution. So there you go.
So it's time, and this is what needs to happen. Business owners need to actually man up and get out there and start doing business without asking for permission. But we're so, like you're saying, Mark, we're so far beyond the point where business owners are owned lock, stock, and barrel by the state.
They really are, and they know that no one's going to
sad.
come to save them. They know that their competition and that their customer base and that just nobody is going to be there for them.
Well, that's not true. There were a crowd of people there supporting these folks, and there have been people supporting them all along. The woman in Dallas had over $500,000 raised. Huh?
They're confident that people won't stand with them? Because your average business person, if you just sort of said, hey, why don't you sell liquor here? And they were like, well, I don't have a liquor license. And you were like, well, what do you need a license for to sell liquor? I mean, it's not legal.
They know what it's for because the men with guns will come and stop them from selling liquor. Okay, and that's what business owners inherently know.
Yeah. I'm of the opinion that if you have to ask permission to do the thing that you want to do, and you're not harming anybody or anybody else's property, that's a hallmark of ownership. You are owned by that institution. If you have to go and request permission just to conduct business, you are owned by the institution which you have to ask the permission from.
Yep, and it's been imposed upon people in this country for generations.
Yeah.
So
they say slavery was abolished. Well,
no.
Kind of.
Changed
no.
form. It changed form.
It's just now everybody suffers from free-range slavery.
So I'm going to read the whole caption here. This is from their Instagram, the video that I played the audio from where they're busting in the doors on their own business. He writes, I hate the fact that it has come to this. Governor Murphy can portray us in whatever villainous way he wants, but our hands are forced here, and that's his fault. We are over 4 months into an economic shutdown that was supposed to be 14 days.
Right.
It is time to end this and resume life in a safe and responsible manner. Small business is not solely responsible for the spread of the virus, yet we are targeted as such and unfairly treated. You will not trample on our rights, and you will not destroy our lives. We will not back down ever. Please share this to show what lengths we have to go to just to make a living for our families. And that's really the most interesting part about this to me, is that these guys have families, and that's usually the pressure point that that demotivates the most motivated person.
Yeah.
Somebody who's got a family generally will feel like, I can't stand up. If I stand up, then they'll come after my family.
Right.
If I stand up, they'll take my children.
Right.
They'll take my kids. They'll say I'm not a good parent because I'm not obeying the rules.
Right.
I am not
It
doing what I'm
literally is
told.
the thing that parents fear most.
Yes.
That the government will swoop in and take their kid. It's the reason that you don't see kids walking down the road anymore. I mean, I walked to school. I rode my bike to the bus stop. I did a variety of these things that would be considered now child abuse. I came home to an empty house at 3 o'clock in the afternoon
Yeah, me too.
with
So did
a
I.
key that I had strung around my neck.
I think I was 7 when I started doing that. 6, maybe 7.
I wasn't much older.
What's the term? Latchkey?
Latchkey kid
Yeah.
was the old term, yeah.
So
Now what we call them? Foster kids.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So the gym owner's story has become a symbol of American business owners' frustration. This, by the way, Fox News reporting on this, with authorities blocking their livelihoods during the pandemic. Some, like Trombetti and Smith, have been arrested or fined for attempting to reopen despite shutdowns in their respective jurisdictions. They were arrested on Monday after they defied a court order allowing the government goons to shut down their business. By Friday, Smith had apparently been released as he posted a video of himself announcing his decision to knock down the wooden barriers. So they telegraphed this in advance. They said that they were going to do this a day before they went and did it.
And then they went and did it.
Which is civil disobedience on top of just, because it would have been one thing if they just showed up and did it.
Balls.
But they made an announcement. They set a time. They said, come join us and watch this happen, and which is a good idea because then you have witnesses for the cops showing up.
Ancestry, the global leader in family history and consumer genomics, released results of
Go
a
down and
survey
broadcast from their
commissioned
place.
to understand how consumers viewed their health risks during the COVID-19 pandemic. According to results, almost half of all Americans and nearly 50% of parents said the
Broadcast from their
COVID-19
business.
pandemic has increased their interest in understanding their possible genetic health risks. Dr. Ron Park, Executive Vice President of Health and DNA at Ancestry.
The COVID-19 pandemic has made clear to many people the importance of taking proactive actions to protect their health and their family's health. The survey shows that this applies to not only concerns specific to COVID-19, but also other health issues such as genetic risks.
Ancestry Health, launched last year to increase access to personalized preventive health care, will soon be powered by next-generation sequencing, an advanced technology that provides a comprehensive analysis of inherited health risks. Visit ancestry.com/health.
News from news.bitcoin.com. BTC miners give off a signal of intending to sell. Does this mean a bear cycle? New Zealand police seize $91 million from a Russian exchange operator. Anti-crypto SEC head stepping down, making Bitcoin ETFs more likely. You can make money by referring people to exchange.bitcoin.com. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com. Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to DivvyProject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from DivvyProject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. DivvyProject.org. D-I-V-I Project.org.
Free Talk Live.
Yeah, you're a loser.
Wow.
Along with,
So I'm a loser because I don't have health insurance? Is that all you got?
health insurance, and you don't want to license your vehicles like the guy in Florida, too?
So I'm a loser because I don't want to bend over for the state and have them molest my freedom and take my money from me. Boy, you've got a serious issue with priorities, man.
Why don't you just pay
Does it make you feel like a winner when you get a speeding ticket? Does it make you feel like a winner when you're paying property tax?
You betcha.
You're pathetic, dude. Thanks for the call. The government loves bootlickers like Leon.
Yeah.
That's sad, man. I hope that more people out there are not like him, because people like Leon are the problem. People like Leon who just do whatever it is they're told and they feel good about it. That's sick.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
Is oral health important to you? If you don't like your own teeth, fresh breath, or kissing people, then by all means stop listening. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I became passionate about the product that she created and never want to live without it. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, but I find it does much more. They want you to love My Magic Mud as much as I do, so they're giving you a money-back guarantee plus 20% off. Go to mymagicmud.com and use coupon code FTL20 at checkout. mymagicmud.com, FTL20.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Just be getting...
Free Talk Live, dial in, toll free here. Bring up whatever is on your mind. Our number, 855-450-FREE. We're talking about the heroes that are running a gym in New Jersey. Yeah, you see a bunch of crap on the streets about thanks to our heroes, thanks to our front line, thanks to our cops, thanks to our this and that.
No, it's worse than that. There's people that are like, grocery store clerks. Heroes work here. Like, really?
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Those aren't heroes. They're grocery store clerks.
These guys are heroes because they put everything on the line to reopen their business in the face of looming violent threats from the government goons.
I'd say this. If grocery stores want to extol their workers as heroes, pay them as such.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they should do. Jack up prices, pay your employees like heroes get paid.
So we're talking about the gym owners from New Jersey who literally busted into their own facility. The government gang had essentially put up large pieces of plywood over the front doors, which we're going to get into why that happened.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a little bit of a backstory there.
Yeah,
right?
in the first place. So we'll tell you more about that. But also want to make sure that you know that from mid-March to mid-July this year, Divvy, the new easy-to-use cryptocurrency we've been promoting here on Free Talk Live, increased in value by over 10 times. Now, nothing is stopping Divvy from continuing to increase in value. But then again, you never know what's going to happen in the future. But it's certainly their goal to get more valuable. And Divvy's price jumped 10 times in correlation with the release of their beta wallet. Now, will Divvy go up further when their wallet's fully released? I don't know. But at Free Talk Live, we're happy with our decision to get started with Divvy a year ago. And you can go to divvyproject.org and begin earning Divvy by starting a masternode or staking Divvy. They have a lottery and also for people who stake the coin. Opportunity has knocked every day here on Free Talk Live since last September. Will you answer? Divvyproject.org, DIVIproject.org. Let's go to Stephanie in New Orleans. Stephanie, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hi.
Hey, you're on the air.
I was calling about, actually I had a story about masks, but I just wanted to mention I heard y'all talking about the heroes thing, and I had a doctor's appointment yesterday, and the lady that took my blood, all the phlebotomists were all wearing shirts that said some heroes wear capes, some wear scrubs. And I just thought it was like stupid. But I think the whole mask thing is ridiculous.
Here's what I want to say about that, though, just to interrupt you. If you are calling yourself a hero, something's wrong.
Right.
Okay? Yeah, that's not a title you get to bestow upon yourself. You don't go around wearing a shirt that says you're a hero. That's one of the most ridiculous things.
I'm a hero.
Yeah.
Right. As a firefighter, I can tell you that a lot of the people are out there pushing this 9/11. The firefighters were heroes things. So the firefighters. Why? Because once you raise some firefighters, you raise all firefighters as heroes. And I'm just like, I'm not comfortable calling myself a hero.
A hero does things not to expect to be called a hero. A hero does the right thing under circumstances that are just, dangerous or threatening or whatever, and they prevail and they continue, and then maybe somebody down the line looks back and says, that was pretty heroic what that guy did.
Right.
But it's always somebody else that makes that call, and for somebody to just throw a T-shirt on and act like they earned it, it's just so disingenuous.
It is disingenuous.
Anything else you want to share, Stephanie?
Yeah, well, I had a story. I work at a coffee shop in a suburb of New Orleans, and the other day I forgot my mask, and I have to wear the mask at work. I hate wearing the mask, but I have to wear it at work because, I need my job. And they had a state trooper that was my first customer before I could scramble and find a mask, and I was scared for a second, like, what is this guy going to tell me? And he was just like, don't worry about that. I hate this mask thing. And he was all in uniform and everything, state trooper telling me, he hated the mask situation. Yep. And shortly after that, another guy came into my store, and I don't make people wear masks.
Good.
My manager told me I'm supposed to, but I don't do it because the only reason I'm doing it is because I'm getting paid to stand there and wear one, basically.
Yeah, that's part of this problem. Is there's so many people there's so many people who are forced to wear these masks by virtue of the fact that they want to keep their jobs, and so it makes it look like there are many more people who think this is something they should be doing, when the reality is a lot of them don't want to do it, and so we don't really know how many of the people out there wearing the masks do not want to wear the masks. We have no way of figuring that out.
No.
Stephanie,
I think about that a lot.
Thanks for your story tonight. I appreciate hearing from you.
I had another interaction with a professional. I'm looking at hiring some people to do a thing, and a professional had to come over to my house to discuss the thing. And the professional was wearing a mask, of course, and some gloves and that kind of a thing.
They're being cautious because they don't know what you want.
Well, and also, I'm pretty sure their job requires them to do these things, right?
Okay, so they're an employee.
Yeah, yeah. So guy comes to the house to talk about the thing, and the first thing I go is, hey, look, man, I don't care about the masks or anything like that.
Yep.
And he's like, oh, God, thanks.
Relief.
I'm like, you can just
relief.
relax, dude.
Yep.
He's like, oh, God, thank you. Again, this is like the, fourth or fifth time that I've done something along these lines.
Right, yeah,
where
you
I've
had a similar story
had
before.
to interact with, somebody of a professional nature, and they're all, tightened up and everything because they don't want to be that guy. They don't want to have somebody call and be like, your employee let his face mask slip down for a microsecond, but
then
beyond his nose,
right.
Or whatever, right? And so, the look of relief on his face was just telling, man. And he was just like, oh, thank you. Right?
I think that's one of the best things you can do for somebody right now is to just relieve them of this ridiculous duty that has been posed upon them.
Duty.
Well, at the very least, I think people sort of have to share their comfort level relatively quickly in the conversation.
That's what I'm saying. First thing.
But if you're not comfortable, though, at the very least, tell somebody. I'm happy to know. I just want to know. Are we both holding up a charade at this point?
Yeah.
Right.
And, I think that it needs to vary based on, are you indoors, are you outdoors? Are you you see somebody 30 feet away, jogging down the road? Where's your mask? You're not social distancing. People are doing this stuff. They're sticking their dogs on people. It's incredible.
Yeah, it is, which is why it is important to do what the captain is talking about here and give somebody a break and communicate with them. Let them know that you're not one of these mask people, that it is not important to you at all, and that you would be grateful if they would remove the mask, if they feel like they can get away with it, as long as the boss ain't watching or, whatever. Let's continue. We got John. He's in Dover, Delaware, and then we got more on the gym owners that are defying in New Jersey. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but they're actually having huge demonstrations right now in Germany.
I heard about that.
Raging. Yeah, they're
17,000. Yeah, 17,000 approximately people in Berlin are
They're not
demonstrating.
taking it no more with this COVID nonsense and these masks and all this other nonsensical bull crap they got us doing. It's crazy. It's a total power grab, man. And everybody knows it. I don't know when they're going to start doing that stuff over here, man. I'm ready to start marching out in the streets and raging against these people, man. Totally ridiculous. And if you notice the cities that are these masked Nazi cities and that are shutting all these businesses down, they're all liberal-ran cities by these liberal scumbags, man. It's gross.
Well, I mean, that's true, but it's also true that there's some bad, Republicans doing bad things, too. I know that Texas has a mask mandate in place, and there's a Republican governor there.
If there's bad Republicans, I'm an independent. I'm not registered as a conservative. I know you guys think I do when I call in every week.
No, I don't think anything about that, John. Thank you for the call tonight. There's more coming up here. Free Talk Live.
Got shaving irritation? Shave Secret shaving oil can help stop it. Shave Secret doesn't cost much and is an all-American product. My name is Chuck Howard, and I developed Shave Secret and pioneered its use starting back in 1991. Ingrown hairs drove me nuts for years. Shaving oil changed all that. Why put up with ingrown hair, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts? Shave Secret provides men and women with what we believe is the best shave ever. Our proprietary blend of 100% natural base and essential oils plus a hint of menthol was designed to help eliminate shaving irritations like ingrown hairs, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts. We'll lose those shaving irritations. Available at Super Walmart, H-E-B, Wegmans, Giant Eagle, Discount Drug, Navy and Marine Exchanges, Amazon, and ShaveSecret.com. Use the code FTL for Free Talk Live and get a discount. Shave Secret, the best shave ever.
The political world is a maddening cesspool of corruption and lies. Nobody tells the truth. Nobody keeps campaign promises. Nobody obeys the Constitution. Nobody puts the people first. How can we ever escape this web of tyranny? Vote for nobody.
Hi, my name is Nobody. I'm running for governor of New Hampshire because nobody knows how to live your life better than you do, and nobody deserves that kind of power. I want to put you back in control of your money, your lifestyle, your work, your body, and your life. Nobody should rule you but you. New Hampshire convicts many people of so-called crimes that should never have been prosecuted. If elected, I will pardon every victimless crime in New Hampshire history. This includes drug, gambling, prostitution, gun, and driving offenses. Nobody should have a criminal record when they have not harmed anybody.
Wouldn't it be nice to have nobody telling you what to do? Learn more at electnobody.com. electnobody.com.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything you want. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Live Saturday edition of the program. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
The captain.
And Mark.
Coming up, Mark, you're going to this week to be in Dallas, August 6th through the 8th for the upcoming Mobilize 2020. It's going to be the biggest and maybe the only liberty-oriented networking event this year, if you don't include Forkfest and the Porcupine Freedom Festival.
I wouldn't call those networking.
They're not conventions in the same way that this is. It's invitation only, but getting invitation is easy. So go to yaliberty.org/mobilize and get registered there for this coming weekend here, right? So August 6th through the 8th, yaliberty.org/mobilize. I guess that starts, the 6th? That's actually Thursday. So yeah, most of the weekend.
Yeah, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
yaliberty.org/mobilize. It's the Young Americans for Liberty, by the way, who are putting this event on. It'll be
YAFL,
I've never been to one, and I'm very curious.
Yeah, me too. I'm looking forward to hearing about it. So we've got more to say here about what's going on with these New Jersey gym owners who are heroically busting into their own business. Earlier today, they broke in by literally smashing through, just kicking in some plywood that the city apparently had installed, or the state. We'll find out more about that. The Fox News report here continuing, they say these are the lengths we have to go through just to make a living for our families on their Instagram post at Instagram channel Ian Smith Fitness. The gym owner's story has become a symbol of the American business owner's frustration with government goons blocking their livelihoods during the pandemic. Some, like these guys, have been arrested or fined for attempting to reopen despite shutdowns in their respective jurisdictions. They, in fact, were arrested on Monday after they defied a court order allowing the government gang to shut down their businesses. So it was, again, called a contempt of court, and that is a power that judges have within the Western court system that is completely unregulated. Judges can basically do whatever they want to do with contempt of court. If they issue an order telling you to, jump on one leg and you don't jump on one leg, then that is contempt of court, and you can be arrested and thrown in jail forever for that. And I'm serious. There's no length of time that is a limit on contempt of court sentences. In most places, if they hit you with more than 180 days, they only have to justify it to a panel of their buddies, other judges.
Right.
That's it. So you'll typically see contempt charges not go beyond 6 months, but they can.
It's interesting that there is simply no check.
Nothing.
For this particular sort of evolved rule that surrounds judges. And I'm not going to claim that judges abuse this. I don't hear a lot of problems with people not jumping on one leg for judges or whatever the case is. But yeah, that's weird that there's nobody checking judges but judges.
So these guys busted into their own business this morning, knocking down the wooden barriers that they erected, the state erected, after he and others removed the doors from their hinges. So he and his owner, the two owners, took their own doors off their hinges because the state was changing the locks on them.
Right. So in order to allow their business to remain open, they just said, we're going to be open all the time.
Right.
Take the doors off.
Right.
I love it.
Amazing.
Well, they might as well. The person who can change the locks on the door is the person who owns the business.
Mm-hmm.
And ladies and gentlemen, don't forget it. Everything that you have, everything that you own, the government can take it from you. Why? Because somebody somewhere said that it was acceptable for them to take $1 from you in order to pay for whatever their plan was.
Right.
So in order to do that, they must have had dominion over all of your property. Think about it for a second. The king rules the land. He has dukes and barons and these sorts of things underneath him. Yeah, well, I'm sure there's a jester or two. But he's got dukes and barons that administrate underneath him. But the serfs had a piece of land that they administered on their own, but it belonged to the Lord, and the Lord belonged to the king, and these sorts of things. And this is the system that from which we came. And that's essentially what you've got now. We don't have a king, but We do have the king is sort of this the chief executive in any given place that you're talking about, and we've elected him. So it's a different system.
They just changed the name of the chair. It's still the same chair.
Yeah, well, whatever it is, the government still claims to be your lord.
So apparently these guys have actually been moving the gym equipment outdoors every day. And they've set up what they call the AMAZ, the Anti-Murphy Autonomous Zone, in their parking lot.
That's amazing. Wait, amazing. Yeah, right.
So let me go on here with what's happening. According to Fox News, part of the resistance includes switching from an LLC to a private membership association, which says, which they say allows them to sidestep regulations related to the pandemic. They've also nicknamed the gym the Anti-Murphy Autonomous Zone, playing off the protest zone open in Seattle this summer. An Instagram post shows people using gym equipment outdoors with a sign reading the AMAZ. Smith has vowed to reopen the gym and said his business went above and beyond in taking precautions to ensure the virus didn't spread. But New Jersey's health department has argued the indoor settings like Smith and Trombetti's gym posed a unique health risk. An order from Health Commissioner Judith Facilit read, quote, indoor gyms and fitness centers present a particularly high-risk setting for the spread of COVID-19, in part because customers of these facilities engage in physical activities that increase the customer's respiratory activity, which can in turn increase the amount of respiratory droplets or aerosols in a confined setting.
You know, I have sort of looked at this, and while I agree with the statement that what chief bureaucrat here has said, that I don't disagree with the statement. But I would caveat that statement with the deaths that have occurred in the United States that are, the highest in the last 3 years. Those deaths in that 5-week period, you could take the deaths that happened and say, I don't know, the nursing homes in, that tri-state region that they're talking about, and that would be those deaths. Like, those deaths are caused by the government and their rules. And for them to come after people who are willingly engaging. If you walk into a gym right now, you know what you're doing. There are very few people that have wandered out of the great Alaskan wildlife natural resource area and into a gym and like, what? COVID? What are you talking about? They all know. We all know what this is. And you're making a decision. Admittedly, you'll be potentially spreading it hither and nigh. I don't know what the case may be, but these super spreaders, the super spreaders are the governors.
With their policies, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah. So kudos to these guys, man. I'm so impressed by this. This is exactly what it takes. This is what we need more of. This is what business owners need to do.
Hopefully, any business owners that are listening to us tonight can take this as an example and, perhaps use it to also do something similar with their businesses, because more of this does need to happen for us to return to regular normal.
Yep. And I don't know if it's going to. I mean, this level of courage is rare.
What was my new portmanteau?
Well, okay, so regular normal.
Skeptimistic?
I talked about this previously. The best way to win is to use your opponent's momentum against them. And I've got to say, let's look at the things that we're doing well on right now. So, the ability to wear a mask in public. I like that. The idea that, maybe we don't want to send our kids into these cesspools of biology called the government school system, where they all catch gross stuff and bring it home and make us all sick. I mean, isn't online schooling a heck of a lot less costly?
Oh, sure.
Not when the government does it.
Well,
okay.
When they do it, at some point they have to get more efficient.
No, they don't. They're the government. Where have you been living? The government doesn't get more efficient ever.
Charter schools will take over.
Okay. I don't see any evidence for that.
Yeah, charter schools are already taking over. And
where? Aren't they just like 5% of schools?
Give them a little while.
How long have they been around? Decades?
Look, man, it doesn't cost that much.
The teachers' unions are not going to let that happen.
Teachers unions are the problem. Use that as
you think
momentum.
You're going to break them in New Jersey? 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. I appreciate your optimism, but the best thing you can do is just pull your kids out of the government schools and forget about them, because they're just going to keep going. 855-450-FREE. Like freedom. You can join us here on Free Talk Live. military.
Have you ever thought about turning your Glock, XD Family, or 1911 handgun into a semi-automatic carbine? It only takes about 30 seconds. The MacTech Carbine Upper is classified as an accessory and can be delivered right to your doorstep with no FFL or background check required. It's the world's most versatile pistol accessory. Build your custom upper today. Simply go to handgunconversion.com. That's handgunconversion.com.
Today, many of us are paying attention to our health, and what we eat plays an important role. But so often the water we drink is a mere afterthought when it should be a primary part of our daily nutrition. Real Water would like to change how you think about the water you drink and how it can play an important role in helping your body restore balance and reach its full potential. The key benefits of every bottle of Real Water are stabilized negative ions, balanced pH, detoxification, and it hydrates you like never before. And yes, it tastes great. Real Water is beyond alkalinity, and due to its proprietary process called E2 technology, it's the only drinking water on the market that can maintain a stable negative ionization, which means real science in every bottle. Order your Real Water today and take advantage of special pricing for this audience only by calling 1-855-REALWTR or visiting buyrealwaternow.com. That's 1-855-REALWTR or buyrealwaternow.com. Order now, 1-855-REALWTR or buyrealwaternow.com.
Hi, I'm Dan Pilla. I started fighting the IRS over 40 years ago when they tried to seize my mother's house. I sued the IRS and won. I beat the IRS then, and I've been beating them ever since. I wrote the book on tax debt settlement, and I've helped thousands of people deal with tax problems they thought might never be solved. I can help you too. If you owe taxes you can't pay, don't wait another day. There's no such thing as a hopeless tax case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX or go to my website, danpilla.com. That's danpilla.com, danpilla.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You dial in toll free and bring up whatever you want to discuss here on our live Saturday edition. We're talking about the real heroes. You want to talk about heroes? The guys that own the Attilis Gym in Belmar, New Jersey. These guys are amazing. Even after being targeted by a robed man and his gang, they were kidnapped and thrown into a cell earlier this week. They got out, and what's the first thing they did? They went back to work, busted into their own business, which had been plywooded over by the government gang, and they went back and allowed people to work out who wanted to work out. They've been pulling all the gym equipment outside into the parking lot and are doing an open-air gym they're calling the AMAZ, the Anti-Murphy Autonomous Zone.
Yeah, you know the government has gone too far when business owners not only get arrested for just trying to operate their business as normal, but then also when they get out have to bust into their own place of business.
But that's just it, Captain. This would happen a year ago if similar circumstances had presented themselves. If a business owner was unlicensed, for instance, and they
some
just
matter, occupational license or whatever.
They just were like, I don't need a license. I don't need to ask permission.
I'm free.
Right. To give customers service of whatever purpose the business is. I don't need to ask some bureaucrat, some stranger, to tell me what to do. I'm just going to go ahead and open my business. Well, at some point, the government will be alerted. Some competitor or some snitch will call the government goons. They'll show up and they'll say, hey, you're supposed to have a piece of paper. You don't have a piece of paper. You can go down to City Hall and get this piece of paper, and then we'll leave you alone. But if you don't get that piece of paper, we're going to hurt you.
I'd look at him and be like, why didn't you bring the piece of paper with you?
That would be a level of service you can't expect from these people. But and then if you continue to ignore their warnings, they would at some
Sooner
point
or later
show up and plywood over your door, or change the locks, or issue you a no trespass notice on your own property or what you thought was your own property, or they'd go to the landlord, unless you own the building, they'd go to the landlord and put pressure on the landlord and tell them that you're not allowed to let these people open their doors or whatever. They would put on whatever kind of pressure that they could get away with, and they would do anything. They would do the exact same thing. So this isn't anything that's special because of COVID. The thing that's special here is that these guys were pushed to the point where they were actually willing to go outside of the system, where they were actually willing to say, we can do what we want. Because prior to this, I'm sure they had their license.
Right.
I'm sure they had their occupational permit and all
These
the other
guys had jumped through every hoop and leapt every hurdle that the government had put in front of them until finally the government said, you simply mayn't do business. You may not open your doors, surf. And at that point, that's when business owners begin to break. And I'm glad
now
to see
you got to pay rent without any way to pay rent.
Glad to see the heroes here. Well, and some of them can't. So then their landlords are stuck in a situation because the landlords are. I don't know how the PPP thing works with landlords or whatever, but what's it? I've just imagined what it's like owning commercial property right now, and I think those are the ones who are really getting it in the pants.
I know a business owner who's not paying the rent right now. They can't.
How can they?
We go to your calls and thoughts here. 855-450-FREE. Bob in West Virginia, listening to WVTS there in Charleston. Go ahead.
Yes, I've always been of the opinion that we have to make government responsible by deluging their offices with either mail or any kind of communication whatsoever, whether it's the telephone. And I've spent the last 2 years creating a directory of the United States Congress. And I've got every single telephone number, fax number, Facebook account, land Twitter account, land address where you could scribble on a piece of paper, throw it in the mail, and it would get right to them. I've got the United States Congress, the U.S. Senate, and now I'm working on the state legislatures.
All this work's been done before, right? Like you're doing work that other activist organizations have already done.
Well, I don't see it out there, and I've been spreading this out. What needs to be done is also, and I'm going to go on to the sheriff's departments. There are thousands of counties throughout the United States, and what needs to get done is we need to organize the sheriff's departments across America as well. That's my next project after I go to organizing the state legislatures.
Okay.
I've spread this out to a lot of people, including the Second Amendment Foundation. I've sent them my copies too.
Since you've put all this information together, Bob, is it available online? Can somebody go to a website and find all this information?
No, not right now. I've been very busy with. I'd love to send it to you all.
No, I got nothing. I'm not going to do anything with it because I think it's a waste of time. Honestly, I mean, these people have been.
Do?
These bureaucrats, these politicians, people have been writing them letters from the dawn of time, and
I
it makes
will
no
write
difference.
you a very strong letter.
I will say this.
No, it's not a strong letter. It's called. It's exponentially powerful because what you're doing basically is you're gathering a bunch of people together to put it out there in a very powerful message because you're not just individually doing it.
So
I've
seen
it
work,
as an organization.
Give me an example of how this
group.
works. Mark.
Sure. There was the Damo Pete Ayers situation where they were locked up in some little podunk jail someplace in America because they were driving their RV and acting like they were free. And I don't remember exactly what the case was. And they... that little jail had never experienced anybody making telephone calls to them at that point there. They just shut down their lines, and pretty quickly they got rid of those boys and they let them go on their way.
Okay, I'll give you that, but that's not what he's talking about.
Twitter,
He's talking about going after politicians, not jails.
Well, he's talking about sheriffs too.
No, he said he wants to organize the sheriffs.
Gathering people together in a big group and making them capable as a force to go after these people and make them respond.
Well, see, now I was thinking something different,
Bob. Never been done before.
Bob, I was thinking something different. So one of the most popular ideas amongst freedom-minded people is to sort of overload the system so that the system falls apart and can't work, right? So if everybody just accepts jury duty and goes in and, says, no, not guilty, no matter what, as long as it's a victimless crime, we could do that. Or things like...
Well, I was thinking of opening up a website.
Right, so...
I was going to go to Weebly.
So I think there's value... I'm sorry, but I think there's value in overloading the system, right? If everybody starts mailing and faxing and calling these people every day, every night, every hour,
people got better things to do.
You're going to overload the system. So there's some value there.
Look, okay. Check out downsizedc.org, Bob, to see an example of somebody else who's already done what you're talking about doing. They've got a great little system that they have in place.
It's going away. They just sent out an email
last week. I've yet to see that. I've seen some similarities where they would, for example, SEIU put out there was the Washington, D.C. Telephone numbers, and they put it out for everybody to basically
They're just going to throw it all away. They're going to get your mail, and they're going to throw it in the circular file, and it's not going to make any difference whatsoever.
SEIU didn't do what I did. They're not even close.
I'm just telling you what's going to happen. I wish you the best, and I hope it works out for you, Bob, but I'm not optimistic on this one. Thank you for the call tonight. Check out Downsize DC. Now, what happened in an email, Mark? You said they're shutting down?
Yeah, I'm going to have to find that.
Please
but basically, Downsize DC is saying that their system has been, like their web server or somebody like that isn't doing that anymore, and that they're not going to have their ability
to write these goons?
To write the goons, yeah.
But I thought that was their system.
I have sympathy for you. Like, at this point, nobody's managed to get enough letters sent in order to stop things.
What would make that? How many letters are going to stop anything? I mean, people have done sit-ins. People have sent letters. People have done phone calls. We had, another perfect example of this, the Bearcat situation here in Keene, New Hampshire. This massive tank truck thing, this anti-ballistic, whatever the hell it's called, Bearcat beast of a truck that was like $300,000 with armor plating and
military equipment,
gun ports, and things like that. There was a huge outpouring of frustration and people who were against this thing here in little old Keene, New Hampshire. It's a town of 20,000 people here. 90+% of the people who were contacting their city councilors, this according to one city councilor, she said 90% of the people contacting her were against this thing. When you went to the city council hearings, they were packed full of people, and 90% of the people in these hearings were against this thing. The only people who were in favor of it were the retired cops and on-duty cops. That's it. But nonetheless, despite the incredible outpouring of both people on the right and the left and people who are not affiliated with either the right or the left, just all kinds of people came out against this behemoth. They passed it.
Yeah.
They passed it like 11-3.
Well, we've seen it time and time again. I saw it in the big city where they tore down a sports center, arena, dome thing, right? And then they wanted to vote on how much the next one was going to cost, and nobody wanted to build a new one. They just wanted to use the existing one, right? And so the people were like, no, and they voted it down. And then another year goes by, and they vote again, and people are like, no, we don't want this new one right next to the existing one. And then a year after that, it happened.
Oh, yeah, it's going to happen. Sooner or later, they're going to pound it down your throat.
The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE.
I'm not sure which.
And, Mark, you found the Downsize DC thing. We'll find out what's going on with them here in a little bit because we've been supporting them for a long time. And they do good work over there. It's, it's worth trying. I mean, it's been tried so many times, and these guys just it just keeps getting worse. Government just keeps getting bigger.
show up at their house.
Coming up.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Are you tired of governments around the world killing innocent people? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin is money that cannot be inflated or controlled by any state. By continuing to use their money, you're perpetuating the killing. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available to you now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. It's Bitcoin.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
On high alert, Fox News, I'm Mary Corsetti. Tropical storm Isaias has downgraded, but the threat remains as it heads towards Florida, where officials say they're closing coronavirus testing centers and preparing evacuation buildings. Miami has 20 evacuation shelters on standby. Governor Ron DeSantis giving an update.
The National Hurricane Center has downgraded Isaias to a tropical storm. However, we do expect it to gain strength as the night goes on. We now have 16 counties that have declared a state of emergency, 3 more since my update this morning. Broward, Nassau, St. John's, actually St. Lucie as well, have all declared states of emergency. We have had approval, of course, from the federal government for our Category B reimbursements.
The National Hurricane Center says the storm will strengthen to hurricane status once again as it nears the Florida coast. This as negotiations continue on the next COVID-19 relief bill. Talks have been focused on restoring the newly expired $600 a week supplemental unemployment benefit, a fresh $1,200 direct payment to most Americans, and hundreds of billions of dollars in other aid to states and local businesses. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer meeting for about 3 hours today with Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin and White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows to try and work out a deal on the new coronavirus stimulus bill. Pelosi says the key to any bill and economic recovery is stopping the virus.
We have to get rid of this virus so that we can open our economy, safely open our schools, and to do so in a way that does not give a cut in benefits to America's workers.
And former Vice President Joe Biden is close to a final decision on his running mate and is expected to announce his pick the week of August 10th, just in time for the Democratic National Convention. That's according to 3 people who spoke to the Associated Press, adding that Biden is expected to hold one-on-one interviews in the coming days. America is listening to Fox News.
From the Fox News Podcasts Network, download and listen to The Untold Story with Martha McCallum. The host of The Story on Fox News Channel sits down with major newsmakers each week to get their untold story. Subscribe and listen now by going to foxnewspodcasts.com.
Major League Baseball has seen several cases of COVID-19 pop up this week, and now a Brewers player has decided he won't play the rest of the year.
The Milwaukee Brewers have announced that one of their star players has opted out of the rest of the MLB season. Center fielder Lorenzo Cain informed the team Saturday he would not participate in the remainder of the season. General manager David Stearns said in a statement, quote, "We fully support Lorenzo's decision and will miss his talents on the field and leadership in the clubhouse," end quote. Cain's decision comes after the Brewers had had both Friday and Saturday's games against the St. Louis Cardinals postponed due to a number of positive COVID-19 tests in the Cardinals organization. Ryan Mayer, Fox News.
Meanwhile, a major cigarette maker reports stronger than expected sales, and its CEO thinks that's because of COVID-19. Julianne Lima with Fox affiliate WFXT in Boston.
Executives at Marlboro maker Altria Group had initially expected U.S. cigarette sales to drop by 4 to 6.5% this year. But in an earnings call, they slashed that number in half, dropping it to just 2 to 3.5%.
In times of stress, people turn to what they know. And if someone is addicted to a tobacco product, they may continue to use that product.
Dr. Jonathan Winikoff says smoking should be the last thing people do right now.
Smoking, specifically tobacco smoke, increases the receptors for coronavirus.
Altria's CEO says there are a few things driving cigarette sales. He argues during the pandemic, people have more time and more money from unemployment and stimulus checks to invest in cigarettes.
Also new tonight, federal officials say an outbreak of salmonella infecting nearly 400 people in more than 30 states has been linked to red onions and identified a California company as the likely source. The FDA says Thompson International in Bakersfield notified the agency that it will be recalling all varieties of its onions. I'm Mary Corsetti, and this is Fox News.
Listen to be part of the conversation with me, Brian Kilmeade. I'll talk about the biggest stories of the day and get your take along with some of the biggest newsmakers around. Listen live on the Fox News app or get the podcast at briankilmeadshow.com.
The new Netflix Gas lets users instantly inhale multiple seasons of TV shows. An area man is worried the nation's healthcare debate might be getting political, and a bullied 8th grader incorrectly thought classmates would leave him alone during a field trip to the 9/11 memorial. Don't mistake my kind, gentle tone for one of love or support. This is the Onion Week in Review. According to a report released this Tuesday, no one, absolutely no one, will ever stack up to your 8th grade boyfriend, Brian Bowden, who you dated for 6 weeks in middle school. A 43-page study from Stanford University confirmed that no other guy in your life will ever be as kind or caring as the 13-year-old who held your hand during the scary parts of Jurassic Park, who had that really cool chain wallet, and who bought you 2 pink carnations on Valentine's Day. The report added that while your current boyfriend does have a lot going for him, he will certainly never cut class with you to listen to the dead Kennedy's Frankenchrist on a Sony Discman. Brian used to do that with you. He used to do it all the time.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. We are kicking off the second hour of the program. As always, you're invited to join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Coming up, Mark's got a story about Americans and their lack of savings. Now they're regretting their financial habits during this COVID crackdown that's going on out there. We'll find out more about that and talk about, how it's affecting you and your savings and all that. If you want to join us, you can. Our number is 855-450-FREE. With you in the studio, it's Ian.
The Reverend Captain Kickass.
And Mark.
We're going to go into your calls and thoughts. You can bring up anything you want. Plus, Captain, you've got a story later tonight, if we get a chance to get to it, about a man shot to death after refusing to wear a mask in some store. We'll explain what happened there, and it was actually the police that shot him to death.
73-year-old dude.
Yeah, we'll get into that on the way here. But first, we go to your phone calls and thoughts. We'll talk first to Robert in Charleston, South Carolina. Robert, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Hello, sir. This is Robert. I just wanted to let you know that, I once did have a problem with tax authorities, and I called my U.S. Senator, who's a very kind person and a good friend of mine, and he said, "Don't worry about that. We'll take care of that." So I never heard from him.
And they did?
Again.
What a load.
Like, you just called up your senator And
yes.
What was your problem?
The problem?
What was your problem
Well,
exactly?
the problem was that I owed more tax money than I had available with which to pay. So he took care of that. Now, of course,
how did he take care of it?
He told me that he wrote me a letter, and then he must have called them up or something because they never bothered me again.
Okay, so
they
you
just forgave a debt.
So hold on, are we talking about the IRS here?
Yes, the IRS. That's
okay,
right.
so the IRS thought you owed them some money, and you say you called up some senator cat and told him that you wanted help, and he just made it all go away.
No, I still owe the money, but they never bothered me again.
Okay.
I mean, I still get the bill once a year. I get a bill from them, saying how much I still owe them.
Oh, so they are bothering you with once a year. They're sending you a bill.
No. They never made any collection attempts ever again.
So they're not putting a lien on. They just they keep on sending you a bill for that you can't pay.
It's just a reminder how much I owe. That's all.
Okay.
So, do you ever call about anything else? I mean, you're almost as singularly minded a caller as Jerome in Charleston, who always calls about Trump. You always call to fillet the government. I don't know, but they live in the same town.
Well, one time I applied for a job at the United States USIA, United States Information Agency. That was years ago when they existed, and I guess the guy who was questioning me, Mr. Benintende, didn't like my answer, so we got in touch with Mr. Dowling, who was head of the security department, and I guess he wasn't too happy either. So I got in touch with my congressman from New York State, 26th Congressional District at the time, and he said, "Well, don't worry about it. We'll just pull the whole file from them, and it'll be fine." And he did,
I've got to hear more about this.
It sounds like he's got somebody in his pocket.
Hold on.
Sounds like.
So you.
Well, he was a congressman who was an old family friend, and he said that
it's all about who you know.
But so were they accusing you of being some sort of spy? You went to apply for a job.
They accused me of being gay because I answered the question, and I didn't seem.
Well, that's a while ago.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was 1988.
Yeah. Well, I guess that used to be a problem with government agencies. Thank goodness it's not anymore.
Robert, thank you for the call tonight. Toll-free number here, 855-450, free like freedom. Somehow I suspect that if you try that same tactic, it is not going to have the same level of success. Oh, yeah, you got a problem with the IRS? Just call your congressman and have him take care of it.
Yeah, no, every time that guy calls, it seems that the reason he's getting treated well by these goons, these politicians, is because he knows somebody.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of the definition of government, right? It rewards its friends and punishes its enemies.
It's a big club and you ain't in it.
Think about that for a second, ladies and gentlemen. When is the government not doing that? When is it not rewarding its friends and punishing its enemies?
It's always doing that.
That's what it does.
They're fighting
it's like the
over
definition.
What happens is the different groups, two groups mostly, the Republicans and the Democrats, fight over the ability to reward their friends and punish their enemies. So when the Republicans are in, the Democrats are mad that their friends are being punished and their enemies are being helped, and the vice versa is true with the Republicans.
Yep, just keeps on happening over and over again. And
the pitchfork people are fighting the torch people, and the politicians are just convincing the torch people. The pitchfork people are trying to take their torches away from them.
They've managed to convince people that there's something greater happening here, that it's something more complex or beneficial or whatever, and really it's just these two interest groups fighting. That's all it is.
And what it does is it prevents people from seeing the problem of the chair itself, right? We've talked about the king, the throne, whatever that is, right? Whatever it's called. I don't care if it's called presidency or king or whatever.
J.R.R. Tolkien called it the Ring of Power.
Yes. So whatever that is, the throne is the problem. Having an institution of violence rule over the world, arguably, is what the problem is.
And this is what these people do, what they do regularly, what their whole shtick is arguing for their monopoly. This week in Washington, the Washington bureaucrats and the politicians had some of the largest corporations in America and the world trot before them to explain their very existence.
Facebook or something?
Yeah, Facebook and Google and these sorts of folks. And these people who actually run a monopoly, Washington, D.C., the seat of power they would propose for the entire world, had these corporations, which you can compete against, probably not very easily, and admittedly, these they have a lot of power, but you give most of it to them. These corporations come to them and grovel before them so that they can continue to do whatever business it is that they do. These people will never explain to you how it is that they deserve monopoly power. And that's what they
You
have.
mean the government people?
Yeah, the government people will never explain to you how they deserve monopoly power because they spent a lot of money putting you through 13 years of their school and everybody else through 13 years of their school so that you would believe, out of hand, without an explanation, that their monopoly is necessary, that every other monopoly is unacceptable, but their monopoly is mandatory.
They can do it right.
Without it, Western civilization will crumble.
Right.
Like, seriously, you don't think somebody could protect you better? Like, compete in a marketplace to protect you better? I mean, many of us live in the country. We know that a telephone call to a local police department, God bless their souls, is going to bring somebody in 10 or 15 minutes. If there's some kind of problem at your house and it takes 15 minutes,
you're dead.
For them to solve, you're dead, right? So there's no protection there. Yes, someone will come and put a tag on your toe. Yes, someone will come
and write a report
about how your wife was maligned and treated poorly by some masher as your body lay in the living room, unable to do anything. But by then, what could we do?
Let's go to Jerome in Charleston, South Carolina. You're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead, Jerome.
Good evening.
Hey, Jerome.
How are you this evening?
Fantastic. You just go right ahead. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I heard a couple of good comments this week. One of them was like from a local celebrity, and he said that he doesn't trust Democrats. And then I hear Trump saying that he wants to rig the election. So I guess so he can stay in office.
Now, wait a minute. Didn't Trump say he wanted to delay the election, but then later said he wanted to speed it up and have it sooner? Would you have a preference, Jerome?
When do you want the election to happen?
Hello?
November. Okay?
When?
First
November?
week of November.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, that's what I'd like to see it too. Everybody on the same day.
Like it's always been done. Don't change it.
I'd prefer if there just weren't elections at all.
Yeah, I would agree
Wasn't
with
it
you on
bad
that.
enough that he rigged the Senate impeachment hearings? Wasn't that bad enough?
That wasn't rigged.
Now,
That's a two-party system.
Jerome, hang on if you want. I'll bring you back here in just a moment. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Coming up, Americans regretting their lack of savings. We'll talk about financial independence, and you can take control of the airwaves here at 855-450-FREE, like freedom.
Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to divvyproject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from divvyproject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. divvyproject.org. DIVI project.org. News from news.bitcoin.com. Another 83 tons in fake gold found in China. Crypto still much harder to counterfeit. Host Stefan Molyneux banned from YouTube. Receives $100,000 in crypto donations afterward. Reporters uncover $11 trillion in offshore government-sanctioned bank accounts. Bitcoin Cash still potentially private and unconfiscatable. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies. Getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com.
Doodle, Stuart, Harold, and Pork Chop. Pork Chop, his beautiful blonde coat is very thick. He's an Akita, German Shepherd, Lab, Husky mix. They did a DNA test on the 4 rescues. The first year is just a complete retraining. Lots of love, discipline, and daily upkeep. I'm a registered nurse and a personal trainer. If I eat healthy, then my dog should eat healthy. DINOVITE.com. They need the vitamins and minerals that Dynovite provides.
Dynovite is nutrition
nutrition. Harold, the Border Collie Pit Mix, has the most beautiful jet black coat. Stuart, my rat terrier, has fur now where he never had it before. Doodle, he's a poodle cocker spaniel. His energy is tremendous. The Dynavite will make your dog happy, vivacious, jump up and down, wag their tails. It will make you smile.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
I get my Dynavite at DINOVITE.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Yep, it's Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything you want here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. With you tonight, Ian.
The captain.
And Mark.
And if you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash, AnyPay can help make that happen. And they can actually connect you with passive income for every purchase made in Bitcoin Cash and Dash at those businesses that you bring on to the AnyPay Cash Register app. Now, that's all you got to do is download the AnyPay Cash Register app, get it on your device, your phone or your tablet, experiment with it, learn how it works, get it set up, test it out. That way you can explain it to local business owners and help them get set up, and then get in touch with the folks over at AnyPay to let them know which local businesses you've brought on board so they can get you the credit for that, again, that passive income that comes in every single time somebody makes a purchase. You don't have to wait a month to get some kind of check. It's right there, comes into your wallet the instant somebody makes a buy.
Frequently people will come to me because they know I've been dabbling in the cryptocurrencies, and they'll be like, what's the easiest, quickest way to get into crypto? I was like, earn it.
Yep, that's
earn it. Figure out a way to earn it. And now here's a perfect opportunity for you to earn cryptocurrency.
Download the AnyPay Cash Register app at the Google or Apple App Store, or visit them at anypayinc.com, anypayinc.com. We go back to Jerome. He's in Charleston, South Carolina. So, Jerome, what were you calling about tonight?
Yeah, the other thing was, about a comment that was made on a local station about the guy says he doesn't trust Democrats. And then Trump talk about trying to rig the election. I got another one for you. This one's about Trump and this guy, Jeffrey Epstein, who he knew for 15 years. And they're trying to pretend like he didn't know anything about this guy and all this child molesting that was going on. Huh?
Yeah, well,
15 years.
they were neighbors,
and they lived
apparently.
in the same area.
Yeah, they were neighbors.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard conflicting stuff on this. Facts one way and facts the other. But, I mean, nobody tries to distance Bill Clinton from...
they can't. He's on the call log or whatever.
Like 24 trips on the on Epstein's 747. I mean, I think that...
it wasn't him.
What's that?
He said he never took any trip like that.
Well, he's lying.
Really? I can't believe he tried to make that claim.
Is Trump telling the truth? He didn't know anything about
Trump's
all
a liar
these child
too, dude.
Well, I don't know whether Trump knew anything about anything. I don't know the answer to that.
Well, they're saying that he
But
did.
I'll tell you this. I think that Epstein was a honeypot in order to catch as many politicians as possible in order to make them do the things that somebody somewhere wanted them to do.
Did you see any of these new revelations that have come out over the last several days with the court documents that have been released now in the, regarding Virginia Roberts Giuffre, or however you pronounce her last name, and some of her allegations? She does talk about seeing Bill Clinton at the island, whatever, Pedo Island or whatever they call it, and she also mentions that Trump was around at least one point, that she says that Trump never had sex with her, but he did flirt with her, and he did say something to Epstein like, "You have the life," or something to that effect.
Oh yeah, I believe that. Huh? That's all he did, right?
Well,
I'm not
I don't know
saying that.
why this lady who's making accusations decided not to make accusations against Trump if it wasn't true. I mean, I don't know the answer, but I can tell you this: the redacted documents that the government released. You could find out all the redacted parts by simply taking it and putting it on the simple computer program WordPad.
At least that's what the news says. We haven't tried that personally.
And these are the people that would administrate our health care under the Democrats.
Right. Yeah.
Trump, who pays off porn stars, and we know how they get down, right? We grown ups here, right? We know how porn stars get out.
So, are you going to try to actually make us believe, Jerome, that Trump is? Are you going to actually try to make us believe that that Trump is this horn dog that Bill Clinton is not?
Oh, look, I'm not making any points for Bill Clinton. We all know what he did, okay?
I know he's the first black president.
We know the tip of the iceberg about what he did.
Right,
and we know the tip of the iceberg about what Trump did. They're both dirty. Right. They're both liars. None of them can be trusted.
Hey, imagine if this was President Obama saying that he wants to rig the election so he can still... I remember someone calling a talk show one day while I was listening, and they said, well, what if during President Obama's second term, well, what if he doesn't want to leave office? What are we going to do then? Yeah. Well, guess what? What are we going to do now?
It's the same fear every 4 years.
Guantanamo Bay.
Every time. It's not. And Jerome, thank you for the call tonight. As always, appreciate hearing from you. But I heard the same. Remember when George Bush was George Bush, the younger George Bush, was getting ready to leave the office or whatever. They were saying it then that they were going to shut down the election so Bush could stay in office. They said the same thing with Obama, and they're saying the same thing now with Trump.
I don't think it's the same, and the reason I don't think it's the same is because this is Trump's first term, not his second. Both of those what ifs occurred on the second terms of Bush and Obama, because what if they stayed past their time? What I would say regarding Trump is, what if he refuses to accept the outcome and says that it's a bunch of malarkey? I mean, has that happened with Trump? Has Trump taken what we consider to be reality as presented to us by the news media, whatever the news media presents as reality, and said that that's not true? Because I feel like he's done that multiple times. So what would happen if Trump said the reality that the news media presents, which is, because none of us know who wins the election without the news media, right? So the news media presents a reality. Trump says it's malarkey and refuses to leave. That's a more interesting question to me than what happens if a president decides to stay past his 8 years.
The interesting question to me is what happens if there's just no president?
Well, I think it's an interesting question, and I'm for it. I just don't think it's going to happen this go round or the next. I
don't know. I hope Trump's the last one ever. And I don't mean that he should stay in forever. I mean that the federal government should crumble and end.
It's doing its best to spend itself into insolvency.
Yep.
So it's commonly I don't want to say known, but referred to the Jeffrey Epstein thing, that there was some...
He didn't kill himself?
Some version of, his island contained at least, people under the age of 18.
Yes.
That is, seems to be... I don't know if it's fact or not. I
it's
haven't
fact.
looked,
It's pretty clear.
But it's commonly accepted.
Yeah,
it's
pretty clear.
That is true. And it's also commonly accepted that many celebrities and many politicians have been to Epstein Island.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
And-
So, according to the government's own numbers, as of December of 2019, there are 30,618 missing juveniles under the age of 18. Now, what do those two have to do with each other? Well, I think it's odd that we can present these facts of politicians and Hollywood celebrities that go to this island, and that we can say things like Epstein didn't kill himself, and they could chase after his wife, and hopefully she's got some information, and maybe they'll get something on her or whatever. Nobody's looking for these frickin' kids. That's my point. Why is nobody looking for these frickin' kids? 30,000 missing children. Some of them arguably have shown up on Epstein's Island at some point. So
I don't know.
Why aren't people looking for these kids? If they can find all this information, if they can contact
I don't think
trace and all
anyone
that kind of
has
thing,
accused him of murdering any of these girls.
I'm not saying either, but I'm just saying,
floated.
Why isn't anybody investigating the flow of children in and out of that thing? Where do those children come from?
Well, they're not investigating, or they weren't investigating because he was working with the FBI, apparently, according to some of the court documents.
Sure.
And so he's connected.
Yeah. I'm just saying it's weird that it doesn't show up in the news.
855, well, it is now. 855-450 free like freedom. You can join us here. It's Free Talk Live.
Ancestry, the global leader in family history and consumer genomics, released results of a survey commissioned to understand how consumers viewed their health risks during the COVID-19 pandemic. According to results, almost half of all Americans and nearly 50% of parents said the COVID-19 pandemic has increased their interest in understanding their possible genetic health risks. Dr. Ron Park, Executive Vice President of Health and DNA at Ancestry.
The COVID-19 pandemic has made clear to many people the importance of taking proactive actions to protect their health and their family's health. The survey shows that this applies to not only concerns specific to COVID-19, but also other health issues such as genetic risks.
Ancestry Health, launched last year to increase access to personalized preventive health care, will soon be powered by next-generation sequencing, an advanced technology that provides a comprehensive analysis of inherited health risks. Visit ancestry.com/health.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Live video of our key New Hampshire-based shows is streamed on DLive. Please follow and share at dlive.lrn.fm. That's dlive.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want here. Live Saturday edition tonight in the studio. It's Ian.
And some guy named the captain.
and Mark.
We're going to get back into more of your calls and your thoughts, but I do want to let you know about Bitcoin.com. And by the way, happy birthday to Bitcoin Cash today. It is
happy birthday to
3 years old. It was 2017, August 1st of 2017, when Bitcoin Cash split from the original Bitcoin BTC, creating the very first on-chain or what they call chain split
fork
in the world of fork in Bitcoin. So this is the third anniversary of that. So you can go to Bitcoin.com to learn more about both Bitcoin BTC and Bitcoin Cash. Over there, they will give you a good introductory session.
Would happy forking birthday be appropriate?
Absolutely. So
it would be a happy forking birthday. Yes,
get on over there at Bitcoin.com. They also have a great news site at news.bitcoin.com where you can get the latest news headlines about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, the world of those things. It's very interesting. There's a lot to learn about. Get started at Bitcoin.com. Let's go to your phone calls and thoughts. We're going to start with Daniel calling us from Denver, Colorado, watching us on YouTube. Go ahead, Daniel.
There's a lot of contention in the libertarian community about infant circumcision. Some people say that parents have the right to do whatever they want with their child. Other people say that circumcising a child is removing their individual rights and freedoms. I agree with the latter. I'm actually Jewish, and I hate that I was circumcised at birth. So I'm curious to know your opinion.
We can go around the room here. I'm going to say I'm against forced circumcision. I don't think that parents own their children. I think that children are individuals who should be free to make as many decisions as they are willing to make for themselves.
I would agree with Ian's stance, and I would say that if somebody does want to be circumcised, they should be the ones to decide that, not their parents. Also, it is, in my opinion, a form of religious child abuse. You are literally mutilating a baby. You are literally mutilating
the genitals
baby, the genitals of a baby, which is, says all sorts of weird things about your religion if you support that.
Some of them, it's not even religious; it's just programming.
Right, Protestants in America, they're circumcising their kids, aren't doing it for religious reasons.
Right.
They're doing it for social reasons by, the two guys, Graham and Kellogg's, from Graham Crackers and Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
Who were very religious guys.
They were, but I mean, what their whole goal was, it was stated. Their whole stated goal was to prevent masturbation. How did that work out?
It didn't.
Gonna say no, it did not.
I'm gonna say that didn't work out. Yeah, I'm the only one here with a child, and my son, we would not have done anything to keep him from being intact. I would say that although it is a violation of a kid's rights, it is not the worst that parents might do and probably will do. Because being a parent means at some point or another you're going to be violating the rights of a young human. I mean that's just the way it is.
I would say, and what the reason I feel this way is because if you did something similar to a female baby's genitalia, you would be considered a monster of immense proportions.
There's not a comparison between female genital mutilation and male genital mutilation. Female genital mutilation actually affects orgasms in later life.
Right, but I'm just saying that that's not a commonly accepted occurrence
I
in
understand
society.
That. I just don't think it's not the same thing, not even close.
Well, I think mutilation is mutilation, and
what about piercing
there are a lot
babies'
of men
ears?
out there who have problems for being circumcised.
What about piercing a baby's
they don't
ears?
talk about it, even leads to erectile dysfunction and other things.
Yeah, I got to say, I mean, you're talking about cutting off some number of thousands upon thousands of nerve
not claiming
endings.
it's good. Remember, I'm the only one in this conversation with a kid, and he's intact.
Are you saying that it is worse for a male's genitalia to be mutilated than a female's genitalia?
It is better. It would be better on a scale of what is acceptable and what is unacceptable for a male's to be mutilated. But I'm willing to call it that because that's what it is. I just think that, changing nature is kind of what humans do. We're always doing that in order to put somebody in our club or this thing or that thing. I mean, what about all that fungus that could have grown on my kid's teeth if I didn't teach him how to brush his teeth? I mean, believe me,
pretty ridiculous comparison.
Teach proper hygiene, not mutilating genitals.
I got you.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for the call, Daniel. I got to let you go. Your phone is just too quiet. I can barely hear you. I'm cranking you up over here. But I appreciate the call tonight. I mean, I see what you're saying, Mark, that as far as the severity between the two is concerned, I mean, I think most people would agree that female genital mutilation is more severe than male genital mutilation, but we don't really face that problem in the United States. There are some places in Africa and probably in other parts of the world that do conduct female genital mutilation. It is certainly a problem they need to address there. But here, it is widespread to have male genitals being mutilated, and it is considered to be a normal thing to do. When you ask some women, for instance, they'll say, "I just think it looks better."
Right. I want him to look like his dad.
Yeah.
Or whatever the claim is. It is pretty ludicrous, many of the reasons they put out there. It's the most prescribed medical procedure for the most variety of different things in human history because it's been proposed to fix so much stuff.
I'm willing to concede that perhaps... Right, because I'm no doctor, I'm no scientist. I haven't studied.
Dr. Kickass,
Reverend Doctor Captain Kickass. Right? Yeah, I've got a new title in front of my name. Great. I haven't studied the subject, but perhaps there might have been something to the thought that it would be cleaner to not have the foreskin, right? Because that's commonly what people will defend it with. They're like, oh, well, because you can get infections easier and all that kind of stuff.
Try washing.
Perhaps there was some kernel of truth to that at some point in,
before soap.
Well before, the Stone Age or something. I don't know.
Running water.
Right. But that time has long since passed, right?
And that's what
if that were ever true.
And this is that dated of a procedure, right? Like this goes back for centuries.
It does, yeah. Like prehistory, I believe.
I'm sure there's still some hobos rolling into the emergency room with some issues here and there.
Because they don't clean themselves.
Yeah, I think that's it. It's good for that. I would agree. But all I'm saying is that I don't think it should be compared to female genital mutilation.
Why shouldn't it?
Because it's not the same thing.
Well, that's how you compare things and determine whether that you. So of course you have to compare. You'd be like, oh yeah, this is way worse. So you have to compare in order to be able to know that.
It's way worse.
I think we all agreed to that.
Right.
I mean, genital mutilation should be all that's needed to be said for either case for you to know that, something's wrong
with
that.
You're not defending, just to be clear, you're not defending male genital mutilation simply by comparing it to
I like to call it circumcision because that's what everybody understands it as. But what I would say is
that's also playing down the severity of it, and it is severe.
I don't think so.
You're cutting somebody's penis.
I think it's clear what the terminology means.
Is it, though?
Yeah. People know what circumcision is. They don't know what male genital mutilation is. That's just gobbledygook that's out there.
I mean, isn't this the same practice of like when the government starts bombing people and instead of calling it war or murder, they call it kinetic military action? Isn't that what circumcision is when it's in fact genital mutilation?
Let me ask you this. So lots of parents pierce their little girls' ears at a very young age. And I've seen it, and I think it's cute. Do you think there's a problem with piercing a little girl's ears at 12 months?
Yeah.
See?
I think that anything done without consent is a problem generally. Yeah.
Also, too, you don't see parents piercing their little girl's labia before, you know what I mean? Like
Jesus.
That doesn't happen. You know what I mean? Now some girls do that later on in life by their own choice, right? They think it's cool. They want to have some sort of
whatever their thing
decoration
is,
down, whatever. That far outside.
Thank God we haven't devolved to that. I must say, as a parent, people make decisions, and we're told that kids can't even consent to decisions until they're 18 years old.
That's a lie.
Should we? Well, agreed. I would say that certain choices are not as harmful as other choices, but, circumcision, I guess if you really want it, you probably should do it after 18.
Yeah, I think parents certainly can set rules in their own home as far as what their kids are supposed to do or whatever. Like, you got to take out the trash, or, you have to do XYZ responsibilities. Yeah. But to put holes in their body, I think crosses a line.
I see circumcision as a violation of the non-aggression principle.
Cutting off body parts or pieces of body parts.
I see it as continuum.
855 450 free. Well, it's a violation of their person. There's more coming up. It's Free Talk Live.
I'm here with Scott Useum, founder of OMG Tax. Tell us how your company helps our listeners out there who have a problem with the IRS.
My team of lawyers, enrolled agents, and licensed tax experts remove wage garnishments sometimes in the same day. We even have reduced the total debt some of our clients were required to pay through what is known as an offer in compromise.
Can you give us an example of somebody you help?
Oh, can I ever? We have taken a $500,000 liability with the IRS. Guess what? The client didn't pay a dime through the representation known as non-collectible status with the government.
If you owe the IRS more than $10,000 and you want to see if it's possible to pay a lot less, call OMG Tax right now for a free tax-saving consultation.
Call 800-486-8112. 800-486-8112. 800-486-8112. That's 800-486-8112.
Attention listeners interested in food supplies. If you've ever wanted to create an endless, crash-proof stockpile of survival food and do it with very little money, pay close attention. This could be a game changer, because the cost-effective do-it-yourself secrets survival food companies won't tell you about are available. Learn all about them at foodshortageusa.com. Check this out. The economic disruption that's occurred in the last 6 months is going to have consequences. Big ones, especially when it comes to food. The availability of food, as well as the inevitable rising prices, which always get passed on to the consumer. The fact is, hyperinflation has huge implications for food and food prices. Smart listeners, you should begin bracing for impact. The good news? There's still time to learn how to get all your garden vegetables into your pantry, stored away, just in case. Learn how at foodshortageusa.com. That's foodshortageusa.com.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live Saturday edition here. You may take control of the airwaves. Bring up anything you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE. Coming up, we can talk about Americans apparently regretting their lack of savings. Something that we've been talking about over the years is how little it's noteworthy how little Americans actually have in the bank or under the mattress or, in the rainy day fund. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
The Dr. Reverend Captain Kickass.
and just Mark.
Honorary doctor.
We're going to continue with more of your calls and thoughts. We're going to go first to Gene, the Christian anarchist. He's on our Discord server. Go ahead, Gene.
Yeah, a little different tonight. I wanted to go into this pedophilia frenzy we've got going on. My biggest concern is the persecution of innocent people. And I'd like to make three major points here. One is the definition of pedophilia, two, the legal age of consent in the Virgin Islands, and three, underage prostitutes. So the definition of pedophilia, if people want to actually look it up, it doesn't mean somebody under 18. Pedophilia means an attraction to prepubescent females or children of the opposite sex. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the opposite sex. It's any
I guess
children.
it doesn't.
Yeah.
Prepubescent children. So that's a pretty clear definition, and it's been that same definition has existed for over 100 years.
And there's no evidence
and
that
there
that
didn't even
is...
used to be a word for attraction to people who were post-pubescent because you didn't need one. They were getting married at those ages.
Jeffrey Epstein was not being alleged to have been a pedophile. There's no allegations that he was ever with children. He was always with teenage girls, it appears.
Right.
Yeah.
So people are throwing this pedophile thing around, and the thing that concerns me is they will label anybody a pedophile at the drop of a hat, and they will then go out and dox that person or even beat them, possibly kill them. This
people
is,
get crazy,
right? With no evidence.
This is the type of behavior that people need to tone down, because this kind of thing actually hurts people and kills people and innocent people sometimes. And the thing about Jeffrey Epstein, yeah, he had underage girls there. I don't think there's any question that girls who were under the age of 18 were on that island.
No doubt. But even the accuser, I was reading some of the previously redacted unreleased documents from there's a certain court case that they were locked up with, and they've now been released. Even Virginia Roberts Giuffre, she said that she never saw somebody she thought was under the age of 15. So, there's some countries in the world where that's the legal age of consent. Canada, for many decades, it was 14 there.
Right.
Yeah, and many states in the U.S., it's 16 or whatever.
Right.
So,
well, I'd like to make a point quick on Epstein. So I'm not defending in any way, shape, or form Jeffrey Epstein or what went on, or the
and
sex
neither
with people.
am I.
Right, the people with the sex beneath whatever the legal age. That's not what I'm talking about here. But what I would say is that why? Why would this guy, who could get all the 18-year-old prostitutes that he would possibly want, and he could bring all of his friends to have, darn close to legal sex, if not legal sex, with 18-year-old prostitutes, and nobody would have had a problem. Why did they choose 16-year-old, 17-year-old, 15-year-old, in some cases, prostitutes that they managed to turn themselves? My guess is so that they had something to lord over these politicians. Now, I won't claim to know whom Jeffrey Epstein worked for, besides the the FBI, whom their documents say he did. He worked with them. I don't know whom he worked with, but I can tell you this: he and this Ghislaine, whatever her name, Ghislaine
I've heard
Maxwell.
it's pronounced Ghislaine.
Ghislaine Maxwell. Those people have a lot of information that the American public and the rest of the world really needs to know about those people that claim to rule us. Go ahead.
Well, and I think that it probably was a an operation to control powerful people, and I believe
Seems
that's
like it.
exactly what it was. But the thing that I would like to point out to people is that underage prostitutes are working in every major city in this country. There are prostitutes out there that are 16, 17 years old, whatever.
Sure.
And I bet you that a lot of the people who are running around here pointing fingers at people saying pedophilia, pedophilia, I bet a lot of them have used those underage prostitutes.
Now, do you mean
And
they have
they're-
used them with the knowledge that they're underage, or use them thinking they were overage and
Probably without the knowledge, but that doesn't matter legally. Legally, that's no argument.
That's often the
So-
case when people are running around pointing figures. I've never been to a prostitute, so I can safely claim that I've never used an underage one. But, in many cases, the people who have the most racked conscience are probably the people who have.
And I've brought this up in the past that I'm of the Vietnam age, the Vietnam era. And although I didn't go to Vietnam because I was a conscientious objector, and if they did pull my number out of the hat, I was prepared to head to Canada. But the point is, I knew guys that went to Vietnam. They came back and they told me about some of the stories over there and the 14-year-old prostitutes they were banging.
We
and
love
they
you
knew
long
they
time,
were
all that kind of
14-year-old.
thing, right?
Yeah. And they knew they were 14 or 15 or whatever, and they bragged about it. So I know that there's a lot of guys my age who came back from Vietnam and had a lot of fun with those underage prostitutes. So I don't want to hear any Vietnam vet come on this show and say, "Oh, pedophilia this and pedophilia
Kill
that,"
those
because
guys.
somebody's
yeah,
because there was so much of that going on in Vietnam, it's pathetic. And I think in every war situation, every wartime situation, you probably see that exact same scenario. So
I bet you're
I'm
right.
not picking on just Vietnam vets. I think it happens in every war. But the point I'm getting at is most of us we don't have to go back too many generations before our grandmother or great-grandmother or great-great-grandmother was married at the age of 14. It didn't happen that long ago. So
I remember
How old
watching
was the Virgin Mary?
The movie, well, she was 14, I believe.
I've heard it's 12.
yeah, but she was a virgin.
Right. I watched Coal Miner's Daughter when I was young, and Loretta Lynn wasn't an old woman when I was a kid, and I think she was 14 in that movie, if I remember correctly, and her husband was like 20, 21, 22, I don't know, maybe 25, I don't know what he was. Whatever it was, that wasn't the issue.
And
with them
Marie
getting married.
Presley, Elvis Presley married Marie Presley when she was 16, I believe, and probably was dating her when she was 15. So come on, people. Let's get a little more common sense. Let's not be ready to hang somebody from the highest tree because they had a consensual relationship with somebody who's under the age of 18, but over puberty. And if you look at the laws in the U.S. Virgin Islands, if you want to look at their age of consent laws, it does say you have to be 18 for age of consent, unless you're 16 to 17 and you consent to somebody no more than 5 years older. So they are saying, and
So
they
it's
even
illegal.
say 13 and 15 years can consent to sex with each other, but not anyone over 16. So they're saying that kids as young as 13 can consent to sex, just not with older people. So if they're saying that consent is allowed for certain things, they're admitting that young people that are in the teenage range are sensible enough to make consenting decisions on certain stuff. Now, if it's my daughter and you know, I find out some guy's banging her, I don't have a daughter, so I don't have to worry about this. But if I had a 15-year-old daughter and some guy is banging her, I'd probably kill him.
What if you had a 15-year-old son, you found out he was sexually active?
I'd give him a pat on the back.
See, that's the crazy.
So that's the thing, right? If you have a boy, if you're gonna have a kid and you have a boy, you have to watch one boy. But if you have a kid and it's a girl, you have to watch all the boys.
All boys.
Thank you, Gene.
But see,
Go
wait.
ahead.
But that was the thing. That was the thing when I was young. See, if you messed with somebody's daughter, you knew you're gonna.
I don't know where his signal
suffer
went
the
there.
wrath of her
There it
father.
is.
And now
Yeah.
these days, they say, "Oh no, we're gonna."
I think we're losing some packets there, Gene. I'm going to let you go, but thank you for the call tonight. I think we got the gist of what you were saying there at the end.
You made some good points.
Yeah.
Well, I think that really it comes down to interesting conversations surrounding consent, which is a complicated subject. And I think that, whomever
it's really not complicated.
in whatever
It's not.
it is. I think
you just
it is.
ask somebody and they say yes or no.
Well, I think that consent, like some people can give consent at a certain age and some people can't to different activities. Like, for instance,
I let them determine.
If you were to talk to my 12-year-old son about, say, a contract to work for 30 years for you in a coal mine, but you're going to give him a Beanie Baby now. Like, I'm going to come up and I'm going to shoot you in the face over that contract, right? Because you are clearly some kind of predator.
But consent is binary. Yes or no?
I don't know what that
That's
means.
how consent.
Simple.
Yeah.
Simple.
Simple. Yes or no?
450 free. That's
Zeros and ones.
855-450-3733. You can take control of the airways if you want to weigh in on this discussion. We got plenty of time because hour 3 is coming up, the live Saturday edition. This is Free Talk Live.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now's your chance to be part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for everyone to use it in everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that's as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more, and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Running out of time. Fox News, I'm Mary Corsetti. The clock is ticking for the White House to finalize the next coronavirus relief bill. Michigan Congressman Dan Kildee on Fox's America's News headquarters discussing the meeting between Democratic leaders and the Trump administration.
I believe that negotiation is the process of two parties who completely disagree, trying to find middle ground. And there's an indication that there's been some progress, and I have to take that as a positive step. We've got a long way to go, but I think we got to get it done. We have a real problem in this country that we have to address.
Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin speaking on President Trump's priorities during the negotiations.
It is a priority for the president
to make sure that we deal with the issue that unemployment has run out and the rental eviction.
Meanwhile, Tropical Storm Isaias downgraded from a hurricane, but it's expected to strengthen to that level once again as it inches closer to the Florida coast. Officials in the Sunshine State have closed beaches, parks, and coronavirus testing sites. But despite the threatening weather, NASA says the weather looks good for a Sunday afternoon splashdown in the Gulf of Mexico near Panama City, Florida. It'll be the first water landing for astronauts in 45 years. Doug Hurley and Bob Behnken took part in a farewell ceremony today at the International Space Station, hours ahead of their planned departure on a SpaceX Dragon capsule. NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine making an appearance on Fox's Neil Cavuto Live, discussing what would happen if the crew can't undock from the International Space Station tonight.
We're not going to undock unless we're very sure that they're going to be able to return as planned. That's number one. Number two, if something happens, if there's an anomaly or something, we have about 36 hours of life support, so they could continue orbiting for a period of time.
America is listening to Fox News.
From the Fox News Podcasts Network, download and listen to The Untold Story with Martha McCallum. The host of The Story on Fox News Channel sits down with major newsmakers each week to get their untold story. Subscribe and listen now by going to foxnewspodcasts.com.
Well, a U.S. representative from a state with rising COVID-19 infection numbers has himself tested positive for the coronavirus. Fox's Gernal Scott has the story.
Arizona Democrat Raul Grijalva released a statement confirming his diagnosis. He said he was told by the U.S. Capitol's attending physician of the positive test. Grijalva says he is asymptomatic and, in his words, feels fine. Grijalva did, however, in his statement chastise Republicans in Washington whom he said, quote, strut around the Capitol without a mask to selfishly make a political statement. Grijalva named no lawmaker in particular. He also urged adherence to CDC guidelines to keep loved ones safe. Grijalva says he will self-isolate at the Capitol doctor's recommendation.
Meanwhile, Major League Baseball now has another team experiencing several new cases of COVID-19.
The St. Louis Cardinals are the latest MLB team to see an uptick in positive COVID-19 results. According to Fox's Ken Rosenthal, between 4 and 6 members of the organization returned positive tests on Saturday morning. Those results forced the postponement of Saturday's game against the Milwaukee Brewers. The Cardinals had 2 players test positive for coronavirus on Friday, which forced the postponement of that night's game as well as another round of rapid-fire response testing. After the series with Milwaukee, St. Louis is scheduled to play a 4-game home-and-home series against Detroit. Ryan Mayer, Fox News.
Also new tonight, the social media video platform TikTok fighting back against President Trump. The president saying Friday that he will begin taking action soon to ban the Chinese-owned app due to national security and censorship concerns. TikTok releasing a video statement from its United States General Manager, Vanessa Pappas.
I want to say thank you to the millions of Americans who use TikTok every day. We've heard your outpouring of support and we want to say thank you. We're not planning on going anywhere.
Microsoft is in talks with the owners of TikTok to buy the app. I'm Mary Corsetti, and this is Fox News.
Hi, everybody. It's Brian Kilmeade. I want you to join me weekdays at 9 a.m. East as we break down the biggest stories of the day with some of the biggest newsmakers and, of course, what you think.
Listen live or get the podcast now at BrianKilmeadShow.com.
We turn to Washington, D.C., where America's roommates are holding a rally as part of their new One Vote Doesn't Matter political action campaign. The rally, which drew thousands of roommates, ranging from the guy who keeps all of his groceries in his room to the guy whose name the lease is under, is just a part of a surging grassroots movement to spread the message that one person's vote can't make a difference if you really, really think about it.
You know, this is like the most important election of our lifetime. We just want to get the word out that it's already been decided in some smoke-filled boardroom. You know, I pretty much minored in poli-sci, so I think I get this stuff.
Join Joining us now is Jason Copeland at a rally in the nation's capital. Jason, how would you describe the energy there?
Yeah, hi, Andrea. I'd say it's a definite chill vibe. I just saw the roommate whose only friend seems to be his younger brother and the guy who just has an air mattress in his room passing out flyers together. Now, the roommates do make some interesting points. The Electoral College it is weird.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE. We got full phones right now, but if you want to get on hold here, the best way to do it would be to call in on our Discord call-in lines on the Discord server. You go to discord.lrn.fm. You can connect to one of the top 4 chat rooms there. They are the Discord on-air call-in lines, and we will join you in there, and you'll sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us tonight. It's Ian,
the captain,
and Mark.
We're going to go back into your calls and your thoughts. We'll start things out here, actually, with Carol. She's in Charleston, South Carolina, listening to WTMA. Go ahead, Carol.
Hi, I was calling about your Jeffrey Epstein conversation just now.
Yeah.
Wanted to bring up the women who have come forward to talk about, who are pursuing or prosecuting him or putting cases forward. They're not teenage prostitutes. These were young girls who were recruited by Ghislaine Maxwell or him. They were high school girls, or they're not teenage, quote, prostitutes.
By definition, if you are a teenage girl and you get paid to have sex, you're a prostitute.
Some of them were not paid.
Really?
But
my understanding is they absolutely were paid.
I think you're splitting hairs by definition, because when you're calling them prostitutes.
All right, I'll retract the term. I mean, but whatever.
I won't. They absolutely were paid.
I don't need to live or die on that particular hill, but clearly it's important to her.
Hold on. The story about how they got recruited was Ghislaine and her agents, because she had a couple of younger ladies that she had go and do this work. They would go to like shopping malls in Florida, where is it, West Palm Beach or something, where he lived. They'd go to the shopping malls. They'd find girls working at crappy, mall jobs, and they'd say, hey, we got a guy that wants to get a massage. He'll pay you $200 or $300 or whatever it was, a few $100. All you got to do is come over to his house. We'll send a car to pick you up. We'll send a taxi to pick you up. You don't have to pay to get there, and you'll make a quick $200 and you'll be out, and boom, done. And then that's how they started down the road. So yeah, they were getting paid. That's how they recruited them.
They were recruited on the premise of giving someone a massage, and they
for
were
money.
Girls, so
for money.
To give someone a massage for money is not a prostitute.
Then they started to add sexual activities within this so-called massage.
A question for you.
Yeah.
Who is at fault here, Jeffrey Epstein or these teenage girls?
Well, I don't know what you're like. That's the question that I have sort of for you is why is it so important that the term prostitute was used for somebody who made money from having sex? I mean, I don't consider it a bad thing to be a prostitute. Do you?
I don't consider it a bad thing if you're of age, but these people knew they were not of age. And when you ask the question, they could have had any 18-year-old prostitute they wanted. Yes, they could. But they didn't do that. They went out and recruited.
Right, because they're sicko weirdos.
Girls.
Is it a bad thing? I just want to know, Carol, is it a bad thing here in New Hampshire and a lot of other U.S. states where the age of consent is 16? Now, Florida, for instance, it's 18, I believe. So is it a bad thing when a 16-year-old in New Hampshire accepts money for sex, or is that totally fine? Is it only bad because the government says...
Age of consent means having, you have the right to consent to having sex or not.
Mm-hmm.
But this is different. I don't want to split hairs again. Oranges are not apples. This is a case where girls were brought into a home of a very wealthy man and told, here, we'll give you $200 to give someone a massage. And once they were there, they were coerced into going farther than they really.
Right.
So the people.
Maybe they were, maybe they weren't. If they were coerced, why did they come back?
The girls are not responsible.
Ridiculous.
I can't answer psychologically.
It's ridiculous.
What this does to someone.
Why would they be? Why would they not be responsible in Florida? Are you saying they would be responsible for their decisions in New Hampshire because the age of consent here is 16?
Of course, they're responsible for their decisions, but the implications of what you are saying is that you're impugning the reputations of the girls rather than the
No, I'm not. I think they need to own it.
Terms like implication and impugn suggest that you know what I'm thinking when I say it. And I, madam, would say that that is not so. What I'm saying is that these ladies were underneath the age of 18. And what I'm saying when I say it, when I talked about underage prostitutes, and the reason I talked about it was because I believe this is an operation by some foreign power to hold United States politicians under their thumb for some reason.
Foreign power? Probably the FBI and the CIA.
Well, it could very well be, but I believe that it wasn't.
I am not disagreeing with you on that point.
That's why they did it. Foreign powers. Then you believe that a foreign power came in and took advantage of U.S. underage ladies in order to get what they wanted, right?
I don't know the ultimate motive. All I am calling about is that I do not think that the teenage girls who are involved in this situation, I think that Jeffrey Epstein is responsible and Ghislaine Maxwell for luring underage women when they didn't have to, as you said.
Well, now, wait a minute. Are they girls or are they women?
They're okay. That again, you're splitting hairs. Let's just say the word underage.
Words have meaning, lady.
Okay, so help me out. At what age does one become responsible for having sex for money? Help me out.
I can't answer that question.
Well, then what are we arguing about?
You know what you're doing here, Carol?
You know what?
You know what you're doing? You're disempowering these young ladies. You're saying that they don't have the ability to make a decision because they're under some arbitrary age. But then when Mark puts a question to you about what the proper age is, you don't have an answer.
What I'm saying to you, my only point in calling in is that simply that the two people who are guilty of being wrong here are Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell.
So teenage girls have no way.
Well, there's nothing wrong with taking money for sex. So if you're claiming that they're wrong, I would claim that there's a lot more people wrong, and that Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell or whatever her name is the tip of the iceberg. And I don't want to focus on them. To me, what they are is the most. They're the head of that pimple. They are there's so much more going on here. Now, are these young ladies wrong? No, they're not wrong. Do they have responsibility for their actions just like all of us have responsibility? I think they have some responsibility for their actions, sure. I think that they were also lied to, and likely the tables were turned once the doors closed, and I think that's wrong. I think those are the moves of hustlers and liars, which I believe these people are, and I believe that these veins of evil, and that's what I'm going to call it, run so deep into this government that to expect it to fix itself is Pollyannish at best.
I agree with you on all points.
Good.
I simply wanted to say that I just don't want the young women who became involved to be implicated as if they did something wrong.
Is anybody really doing that? I mean, anywhere in the world. I know people are saying this about sex crime victims, that somehow they're blamed and these kinds of things. But has anybody anywhere blame these young ladies for this stuff?
Simply by calling them prostitutes, I felt that you were overstating their role.
And you know what? I'm going to call everybody prostitutes. Just about everybody in America will take sex for money, so they're all hookers. How's that?
Yeah, when is it that you think a person can make a decision like that to have sex for money?
I don't know the individual cases of every young woman, but I know that I've done a lot of reading on this, and I've read the testimony of a lot of these women, and they were brought in by Ghislaine or Jeffrey Epstein. They were not of their own volition. Some of them, they were like, hey, we're having a fun weekend down at our house. Why don't you come with us? Ghislaine was there. It appeared innocent. There was another woman. Their parents let them go.
I wonder.
So I'm simply saying to call them prostitutes is, I think, an unfair, because it whether you like it or not.
I wonder, have you ever been personally recruited for a job? Has a headhunter ever come from you?
Question.
Well, okay.
Well, thank you for the call then.
So my point is that some people enjoy being recruited for something that they might be good at, right? Or given an opportunity that other people might not be given, right? And I bring that, the example is being headhunted by a recruiter for a job. Mm-hmm. If you have a certain set of skills that an employer is working for, and they come and find you, and they wine you and dine you and song and dance you, and then offer you a great paying gig.
I don't think that was what was going on here. It sounded very much like Epstein would get these gals off in for a massage and then be like, hey, it's a massage with benefits. Why in the world would I offer you offer some untrained kid $200 for a massage?
We all
Obviously,
know
I'm a pervert.
The lure of money,
wang bang,
is powerful.
Yep.
855-450 free like freedom. You can take control. You can bring up what you want.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you receive the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at AnyPayInc.com. AnyPayInc.com.
Pork Chop, his coat is very thick. He's an Akita, German Shepherd, Lab, Husky mix. Harold, the Border Collie Pit mix, has the most beautiful jet black coat. Stuart, my rat terrier, has fur now where he never had it before.
DINOVITE.com.
Dinovite will give them a beautiful, lustrous coat. It will make you smile.
You get some Dinovite, how happy your dog will be. DINOVITE.com.
Got shaving irritation? Shave Secret shaving oil can help stop it. Shave Secret doesn't cost much and is an all-American product. My name is Chuck Howard, and I developed Shave Secret and pioneered its use starting back in 1991. Ingrown hairs drove me nuts for years. Shaving oil changed all that. Why put up with ingrown hairs, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts? Shave Secret provides men and women with what we believe is the best shave ever. Our proprietary blend of 100% natural base and essential oils, plus a hint of menthol, was designed to help eliminate shaving irritations like ingrown hairs, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts. We'll lose those shaving irritations. Available at Super Walmart, H-E-B, Wegmans, Giant Eagle, Discount Drug, Navy and Marine Exchanges, Amazon, and ShaveSecret.com. Use the code FTL for Free Talk Live and get a discount. Shave Secret, the best shave ever.
An alarming new study finds that people suffering from stress-related disorders react poorly to being trapped in underwater elevators. A tired 398-month-old throws a tantrum, and a little clay thing is purchased at an arts festival. And now an eerily perfect recap of this week's news. The Catholic Church reversed its long-held stance against gay marriage this week after meeting Connecticut couple Tony and Craig. The vacationing pair dazzled the Pope and assorted clergy with their witty conversation and true loving affection for each other, leading Vatican officials to conclude that love is love and it's silly to put restrictions on it in this day and age. The Chinese people announced that they would be willing to forgive most of the United States' $1.16 trillion debt if Americans agreed to dress up in costumes and perform silly dances for them. Chinese officials encouraged U.S. citizens to wear sequined vests and prance around while slapping their big fat American tummies, promising that the more humiliating the performance, the more debt will be erased. In sports, NASCAR fans are deeply puzzled by a mysterious black family seen attending multiple races.
This is the Onion News Network.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you get the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at AnyPayInc.com. AnyPayInc.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything you want here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Like freedom, that's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms. They're over at discord.lrn.fm. Just hop into those. You'll sound great. In fact, we got a Discord caller coming up here in just a moment.
Today, large corporations act as middlemen for our everyday online communications and transactions. Often, they work hand in hand with governments. In the last few years, these centralized social networks have all launched payment networks. Bitcoin and Ethereum have not been scalable enough to compete. The team behind Intercoin spent the last decade creating an open, web-based, decentralized social platform to rival Facebook and Google, and now they can use it to roll out a revolutionary payment platform on top. If decentralized crypto doesn't soon gain mainstream adoption to power everyday payments, it will be Facebook and WeChat's world, and we'll just live in it. Intercoin's attempting to regain some of our freedoms that are threatened on the internet and in the real world, and we think that's important here on Free Talk Live, and so important that FTL accepted $40,000 worth of Intercoin tokens from Intercoin Inc. for advertising. And if you think that freedom is important too, check out Intercoin at intercoin.org. You can invest in the project and potentially make big gains, or just be involved and perhaps shape its future. Intercoin.org. That's INTER. Intercoin.org.
We're continuing now with your calls and thoughts. As I said, somebody on our Discord lines, ETARS, is with us. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm going to try to keep this as clinical as possible, but I took objection to what Mark said about circumcision by saying that it was different for girls and boys because later on in adulthood, it affects the ability to orgasm. And I would say that that's not really a thing. I think that there's multiple different kinds of orgasms. So we'll leave that aside. But I think that where you need to draw the line is cutting the genitals of children. And so I think that the ear piercing argument, the ear piercing arguments gets away with it. You should say that. So that I would think it would not be a controversial stance to say we shouldn't cut the genitals of children.
I like that stance, and I'm for it. And that's why am I the only one in this conversation still with a child?
Well, yes, you are.
Okay, I am still the only one in this conversation with a male child, and still the only one that has not circumcised them. So yes,
and also there is no one in this conversation that has a daughter. So I would say that if we're going to play that game, it will go poorly. But I think we can all agree to say you should not operate on the genitals of children.
I agree with that.
That should be an uncontroversial statement.
I don't disagree with your statement. I will, however, say that I think that you are aware, since we're being clinical here, that there is no difference between male and female in embryos that are of a sufficiently young age, right?
That is true. Everyone starts out with female genitalia, and then they develop over time into different.
The equivalent for if you were to circumcise a male in the way that a female is circumcised, you would need to remove the glands of the penis. That's the top of it. The head. The bulbous part, the part that looks like an apple. You would need to remove that and then take away all of the skin of the scrotum. And that would be the effective same thing as a female circumcision. And I do think one is worse than the other.
So I think that, yes, there are different degrees, but I would tell you that...
As long as we agree there's degrees.
Type 1 genital mutilation does not remove the ability to have an orgasm. You can cut off the entire clitoris and you can still have an orgasm because there are different vectors for that. And so I think that if you want to play the degrees game, I think it detracts from the argument that we shouldn't have degrees. There should just be a hard line that says you don't do it.
Well, what if the child has problems with, there are people who have, I can't remember what it's called, but the foreskin's too tight and, that nothing can happen with it, right? It doesn't slide back like it's supposed to. That's a medical condition whose name does not come to the top of my head at this time.
So what you are talking about is a medically necessary procedure. So that'd be like saying that someone that has sepsis in their hand, we shouldn't amputate the arm. Because it's going to remove their functionality for if you're in a situation where you've got a medically necessary procedure that is completely different. And so, I mean, your argument is basically we shouldn't cut off the hands of people that have sepsis.
What I would say is that parents probably overweight the value, the medical value of male circumcision, meaning that they think that their kids are, more possible that they're going to have this condition where they, the foreskin's too tight.
That is not what it comes into play with most of these parents. It's a visible thing that they think looks better. It's totally opt-in, has nothing to do with their fears about medical necessity.
It's the religious perspective, and then it's also the wives' tale that it's somehow cleaner these days, which again we've gotten way past that time.
The cleanliness part is a medical concern. It's just one that could be addressed in other ways.
Right.
And
so that's the same thing as saying that we need to wear masks because people can't wash their hands, so they get the coronavirus. So I mean, there are very easy ways to avoid infection in that area, and it's just simply washing yourself.
Yep.
All right. So what's your complaint?
I don't know. He just owned.
Owned what?
You.
I don't want to say my.
I have these conversations all the time with parents, right? And I'm taking the other side. All I'm telling you is these people have concerns and they have their children. And when you walk out there and you say it's the same as cutting off their junk and shoving it down their throat,
no one here has said that.
That's what it's like.
But no one has said that.
You got to back off a little bit because nobody makes a decision until they, believes you until they know you care. And they won't know you care until they understand their position. So first you must start with understanding their position. And I'm doing that because I do understand their position. And I would say circumcision in young males is unnecessary.
Unnecessary?
Unnecessary.
There you go.
Well,
but I'm not going to sit here and scream at the top of my lungs, you're wrong,
you're the only one
because you
screaming.
don't believe in exactly the same reasons that I do.
You're the only one screaming here, man. I don't know if you noticed.
I think there's no point in continuing the conversation. That's what I'm trying to say.
So I would say that my point, Mark, is that I think that my point is that there's no reason to draw a gender discrimination. It's that we should just stand against.
There's a difference between the genders.
That's where we disagree. So.
Yep, I think you're right about that. Thank you, Etars. Appreciate hearing from you tonight there on our Discord server. Sounded great.
It does sound good.
You can join that server. It's very easy to do. You go to discord.lrn.fm.
It sounds like he might be on a speakerphone, though. So
I don't know.
It's not my favorite style. I know some people just like to put the phone down while they're talking. So
let's talk to Summer in Aberdeen, Washington. Summer, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hi, you brought up earlier, you asked the question if anywhere at any time a female rape victim was blamed. I kind of caught the end of a conversation.
What do you mean by that? I'm not sure if we asked that question.
Well, I did sort of.
There was a lady who was talking, and she said, you asked if a female victim anywhere ever has ever been blamed.
Well, actually, what I was asking, I can't remember specifically the way she was describing it, but saying that she had responsibility for the rape. But let's bring it back.
Yeah, hold that
I
thought,
find
Summer.
out
I'm still not sure what we're talking about here. 855-450, free like freedom.
There's some biblical circumstance.
No one should be blamed
Probably
for
stoning them someplace.
No one should be blamed for being raped. I mean, if we're talking about real rape, which statutory rape isn't real rape, it's an insult to people who've been raped.
News from news.bitcoin.com. The IRS is requesting information about privacy cryptos from people that are still filing their income tax forms. Coinbase may be planning to go public on the stock market this year. Stablecoin Tether is now circulating on the Bitcoin Cash network. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com. Log on now at news.bitcoin.com. Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to divvyproject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from divvyproject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. divvyproject.org. DIVI project.org.
A congressman recently revealed that legislation totaling 2,900 pages and involving more than $1 trillion was available to members of Congress for less than 48 hours to study and consider. That's over 60 pages of legislation per hour. Do you think anyone read the entire bill? I'm Jim Babka with DownsizeDC.org. Consider a proposal buried in a 3,200-page, $388 billion bill, which would have empowered committee chairmen or their agents to examine Americans' tax returns. When this horrible provision came to light, no one claimed to know how it got into the bill. One congressman questioned said, "I didn't write it, I didn't approve it, I wasn't even consulted." If your attorney represented you this way, he might be disbarred. But this is how Congress represents you every day. That's why DownsizeDC.org has created the Read the Bills Act. You can force Congress to read their bills before they pass them at DownsizeDC.org.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You dial toll free if you want to join us here. The number for you is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. In the studio, it's Ian.
L. Captain Kickass.
And Mark.
I want to say thanks to Richard Thompson. He is a Free Talk Live Gold amplifier. Richard contributing $10 a month to the AMP program. And I want to say a big thanks to him for doing that because it makes a big difference for us. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. It's a way for us to get on more radio stations, bring new listeners on board with the program. And I guess I should welcome a couple of new stations that we have.
Yes, please.
We actually have a couple of new stations that were acquired by an existing station of ours, and that's always nice, right? So we
Makes it easy.
Didn't really have to do anything to get these two. WMIQ in Iron Mountain, Michigan, and WDMJ in Marquette, Michigan. Ooh. Welcome aboard.
Iron Mountain, I believe, is in the UP, the Upper Peninsula.
Yeah, it's up there.
Oopers.
So, welcome to newer listeners there. They are simulcasting longtime affiliate WCHT from Michigan. I think Michigan may be, and I think it's held this title for a while, but it's firmed it up even more now as the
state we have the most
affiliates for Free Talk Live.
Nice.
Yeah, for whatever reason.
We need to get some states
At one point
competing.
it was Washington State, wasn't it?
No, never.
No?
No.
Okay.
So welcome aboard, and thank you to our Free Talk Live amplifiers like Richard Thompson for making that possible, because it's your $5 a month, or in his case 10, that helps us get on more radio stations. We're not paying for the stations, but we reach out to them, we market to them, we
advertise, market, and promote.
Exactly. So, and you get some cool perks, you get some bennies.
Advertising works
from doing that over at amp.freetalklive.com. Get signed up there, ampamp.freetalklive.com. We're going to continue here with more of your calls and thoughts. Let's go to Pizza Cake Man.
What happened to the lady that was holding for the rape story?
She dropped off the line.
Sorry to hear.
Oh. Yeah.
We didn't run her off.
That's too bad. Pizza Cake Man, you're on Free Talk Live on Discord.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Welcome.
I wanted to give you a update from the road. I'm out here after leaving Keene. I headed on down to D. Got a little
down to
sunrise
DC?
smoke session out in front of the White House.
All right.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. I'll post the video online for you guys. But yeah, I wanted to give you kind of an update. I mean, the mask situation is surreal. There has not been a place that I've gone that the public wasn't completely masked. I did my best, but pretty much any building I walked into, I was immediately told that I needed to have the mask on. So it's becoming a pandemic of its own.
So you weren't able to use any kind of excuse to avoid the masking?
One place I did try that, and they just kind of ignored it. They just, said whatever. But for the most part, I just throw it on because it's a political message on the side of the mask as well. It says this mask is as useless as your government. So if they ask me to wear it, it at least gives me the ability to throw that mask on.
I do like that.
Right on, man. Well, hey, thanks for the update. Anything else you want to share tonight?
No, just I appreciate the hospitality. It was great meeting you guys, and you do great work. I got to see a little bit behind the scenes. Ian out there busting tail, to get things done and make sure that the station does well, and you do a good job of it. So
thanks,
it's
Pizza
nice
Cake Man. Appreciate it. It was great meeting you up here. And yeah, he was that was our guest co-host earlier this week, Carlos.
Tuesday or something.
Yeah, watch out for the C part of DC. That would be the District of Criminals.
Yeah, I don't
watch
know why
out
anyone would
for those.
Got to check it out.
I don't know why anyone would set foot in that. And why? No, you don't have to check it out. You really don't.
They have some great museums, but they're probably not open right now.
Those are boring.
No,
Who
the
cares
museums
about
are
that?
awesome.
855 450 free like freedom. We continue here. We got David in New Mexico. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, David.
Yeah, it's Pizza Ass Man. And
anyway, go on.
Anyway, well, it's been so long I kind of forgot what I was talking about. Oh, I called I picked up the phone when you said government swooping in and abducting your children. And so I thought I would give some ramifications of that. So I hope that the United States of America goes away at the first opportunity because it's not living up to its founding charter.
Me too.
So, yeah, so if you apply the founding documents, meaning the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, to the behavior of the government for years and years and years and decades now, the United States of America does not exist. It's just that nobody has called them on it yet.
Oh, well, I beg to differ. We're on the air 7 nights a week here doing exactly that.
Nobody has called them on it in any significant manner.
What do you mean they don't exist?
Well, they don't exist. It's a breach of contract. The Declaration and the Constitution is a contract.
No,
with who?
With me.
You signed it?
I don't have to sign it. I'm a beneficiary. I don't have to sign it. It was signed on, and actually, in actuality, yes, I did sign it because it's we the people. So I'm a party to we the people.
That's not how contracts work.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it is.
No, it's not. You got to have offer. You have to have acceptance, consideration.
Well, go on with the premise that you are a beneficiary.
Yeah. Anyway, so they breached the contract, so they don't exist. It's just that they haven't been taken out yet, and I'm not participating, and I'll continue to go further and further out until there are enough other people, if and when there are ever enough other people that are willing to actually go and do something about it. One guy alone or a half a dozen guys alone can't do anything.
Right.
Yeah. And so I'm just out here going to do my own thing until if and when enough people get some big enough balls to do something about it, and I don't know if that's ever going to happen. But Mark, you Ian used the words the government swooping in and whatever, taking children or whatever. And Mark had made comment about that people, that's one of the biggest things that people fear. And one of the biggest things that people fear from the government actually happened to me. And so I've given you where I'm at on that. Now let me just give you a taste of what they did to make it happen. And they do it in many different ways. There's some real common scenarios, like a half a dozen different common scenarios about that are child trafficking by your government, of which the Epstein thing is actually technically a child trafficking thing by your government. That's one of them. And the way they did it to me was within a simple dissolution of marriage with children, custody thing, and the whoever gets to the courthouse steps first and pays their $135 filing fee, in this case, gets what's known as a temporary domestic order, and it's an ex parte order, and it gives the person who raced to the courthouse steps and was the first one to pay the filing fee, gives them legal control of the children and gives them the legal power with men with guns to back them up, the power to tell the other parent to go F themselves if they want to see their own children. And that's basically what was done to me, was I was told to go F myself based on the other party having paid the filing fee first. And so I was... Yeah, fun. So, F the United States until if and when it exists again, and it goes on from there.
Just to be clear, let's be clear. It was the gang calling themselves the State of New Mexico that did this to you. The United States gang probably wasn't involved, right?
Well, you're half right. The state of the gang calling itself the State of New Mexico was the direct actor. However, the gang calling itself the United States of America had the duty to defend me and has breached that duty.
And that is where you're absolutely right. I mean, they definitely do not have the duty to protect anyone. We've talked about that a myriad of times. The Supreme Court has ruled over and over again there's no obligation to protect. So if there ever was a legitimate contract in place, and I don't think there's any evidence for it, but if there ever was, it certainly has been violated. So I think you're right from that perspective. David, thank you for the call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you.
Yeah, that's the bit about what is a citizen? A citizen
Correct.
is somebody who gives a duty of allegiance in exchange for a duty of protection.
It's the words obligation, but it's the same concept, yeah.
And so if there's no obligation to provide you a duty of protection, then you automatically don't have to provide a duty of allegiance.
That's right.
And thus there is no organization.
And therefore you shouldn't have to provide them with anything.
Right.
Meaning like your money and your time and your obedience. Because they're not doing you any favors.
Agreement's broken.
Yep. Again, if there ever was one, I've still yet to see that social contract. 855-450, free like freedom. Join us on Free Talk Live.
Silver has always been nature's very own antibiotic, and only one system allows you to generate an endless supply of natural silver solutions. SilverLungs.com. You'll find no wild claims or pseudoscience, just a lifetime of nano-sized pure silver solutions. The Silver Lungs generator allows you to make your own, so stop paying for silver solutions. The unique lung delivery system targets respiratory infections where other silver solutions simply cannot reach. See the Silver Lungs generator and lung delivery system at SilverLungs.com. That's SilverLungs.com.
Survival food alert and a quick heads up. In an emergency situation, there may be a time you need to have an easy to transport, easy to conceal, almost perfect food to survive. You'd want a food that is so nutritionally dense that a couple of tablespoons per day is all you need to live on. And by that, I mean truly living well, staying smart, even strong for extended periods of time. So if you're looking for a standalone, super dense superfood, or you'd just like to protein up your own food supplies, check this out. This superfood has 58 times the bioavailable iron of spinach, chock full of B vitamins, twice the chlorophyll of wheatgrass, 25 times the antioxidant power of carrots, and the phenolic phytonutrient compounds? Well, 31 times more than blueberries, a whopping 700 times more than apples. Go to bluegreenbooster.com, bluegreenbooster.com. Get maximum nutrition with minimum weight and bulk. bluegreenbooster.com.
Have you ever thought about turning your Glock, XD Family, or 1911 handgun into a semi-automatic carbine? It only takes about 30 seconds. The MacTech Carbine Upper is classified as an accessory and can be delivered right to your doorstep with no FFL or background check required. It's the world's most versatile pistol accessory. Build your custom upper today. Simply go to handgunconversion.com. That's handgunconversion.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project early movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Moments remain, but enough time for you if you want to join us here now. Our number's 855-450-FREE, like freedom. Live Saturday edition with you in the studio tonight. It's Ian,
the captain,
and Mark.
Check out more of Captain Kickass on his website, elcaptainkickass. That's elcaptainkickass.com.
Thanks, man.
Parodies of songs that you will hopefully enjoy.
I've got more in the hopper. I've been busy.
Indeed. We all are. But we've got time for you. That's why we're here, is to talk to you about whatever you want. Mark, you had a story tonight that comes back to finance. We've talked about the disaster of the federal government printing money and, inflating the money supply and what that's going to likely mean into the future. We're seeing gold at record highs over the last week. Bitcoin sitting at over 11,000, almost. I think it scraped 12,000 today, earlier.
Yep.
I don't know where it is right now, but it's been interesting to watch it. Yeah, it's still close. It's 11,800 right now as we're speaking. But what about Americans? How are they feeling these days?
Yeah, I think one of the reasons that our government is irresponsible with our money is because...
You said irresponsible?
Irresponsible, okay. Yeah, is irresponsible with its money is because we are irresponsible with our money.
Yeah, so that's manifesting into reality?
Yeah, who are they but us? A new survey finds that Americans regret their lack of emergency funds to withstand the economic crisis caused by the pandemic. The Bank Rate Survey found that 23% of Americans rate that as their biggest regret, followed closely by not having enough retirement savings, which is basically the same thing. Having too much debt came in at number 3, also basically the same thing. When it comes to getting finances in order while moving forward, the top financial priority was paying down debt, followed by saving more for emergencies, and a large number of people who didn't know what their top financial priority even should be.
Well, here's the good news. As the state inflates the money supply, it'll be easier to pay off your debts.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they don't recalculate the debts with the new money. It hasn't been
trickling down much, though. When they inflate the money supply, they, by and large, are just helping themselves to more of your savings.
That's true.
For those people that are willing to save, and they save in sort of traditional savings fashion, savings bonds or savings accounts or, variety of ways, the government's just taking some of your money when it makes more money.
Yeah, make no mistake, listeners, that government inflation of the currency is a hidden tax.
Oh, yeah.
Effectively a hidden tax.
And I think what you're kind of talking about here when it comes to the average person who might have a job of some sort, the wages tend to trail the inflation by a long distance.
Oh, yeah.
So when the money supply is increased, it goes, of course, as we've explained many times, to the politically connected industries and things like that. But it's not like those industries are all of a sudden giving everybody at the bottom end raises. If you're making $10 an hour and then the government doubles the money supply, you're still making $10 an hour when all said and done. So actually, what happens is your living standard goes way down.
Right. There was a time not too long ago, 1964, 1963. I can't remember exactly when it was, the quarters were made of silver.
Yeah.
And the minimum wage was, I think, $1.25 at the time. If you had 5 quarters worth of silver today, you would have something like $20.
Was it 5 quarters was about an ounce worth of silver? Is that
right.
what it broke down to?
It was, it's supposed to, a quarter is supposed to be a quarter ounce of silver. I don't trust them.
Right.
Quarter troy ounce. So
call it 5.
Okay. Just let's round it down. Let's be careful. Let's let Caesar clip the coin, right? And call it 1 ounce. 1 ounce of silver is scraping $20 right now. Is it not?
No, it's higher than that.
Is it higher than $20?
It's been on a tear.
Yeah. So $20. And imagine if your minimum wage was $20. Around here in New England, it's hard to get somebody to work for less than $18 an hour.
$24.53 price of silver right now.
Nice. But that would be
ounce.
That gets to, that there you can see how inflation works. Like the rubber to the road, ladies and gentlemen. It's not. I get it. You're paid too little, but you still, it's your responsibility to save in a market like we have, which would like a Keynesian debt-based market. Thrift, that means the act of saving, is a superpower. And if you save properly in ways like that you can hedge against inflation, then you will over time do quite well. Imagine, ladies and gentlemen, if you had silver right now, with it going from $12 to $24 in the course of a couple of years.
Right. Now, and let's be clear, too, when we say save, we're not talking about, cashing your paycheck and putting, $20 under a pillow, because that's not going to get you anywhere. You cannot.
It's going to get you somewhere.
Well, okay, but once the inflation kicks in, that $20 has effectively been halved. So
right.
you touched on it, where you need to put your money into places that are going to hedge against the inflation.
So that's true, but at the very least, if you had, say, $1,000 or $2,000 in emergency USDs that you could put your hands on in the midst of a pandemic, which is what we're talking about here, the regrets of so many Americans.
They don't have that.
Right.
That they don't have that they can't buy that thing that they need right now, or stock up on food, or do whatever.
Guys, I want to go to Don. He's in Tallahassee. Don, you're on Free Talk Live, I presume listening to FM on WVFT. Go ahead.
Yeah, my first question, and I don't want to get bogged down in this.
Yep.
I guess if there's a primer on Bitcoin, if you could direct me to that, that's what I'd like to know. I'm probably going to, I don't know if it's actual, like I understand like what an ounce of gold is, an ounce of silver is something that has an intrinsic value in itself. And of course the value goes up because like you're talking about, they've debauched our currency.
Yep, and they will continue.
And I know that. So I mean, I see value, but I don't know if Bitcoin is like a digital entry in something. I mean,
okay. So, like you said, we're not going to get down into the weeds here on Free Talk Live. We don't have much time left in the show, let alone this segment. But I will recommend checking out Bitcoin.com, longtime sponsor here on Free Talk Live. What you do is you go there and then click Get Started right there at the top.
It's right there at the top.
And it'll take you to a big button that says Watch the 3-Minute Bitcoin 101. And you click that. It takes you to their Bitcoin 101 educational series. And the first video is less than 3 minutes, but there's also also looks like another 5 or 6 videos beneath that. So what is Bitcoin is the first one, how to send and receive, how to buy and sell, how to Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash work. So you can go, this is a topic you can go as deep and dive as deep as you want to, or take it as surface level as you want to, but it's worth 3 minutes of your time to go and learn about this.
I just want to understand what it is, because I hear you talk about it, and I don't understand what it is.
In short, it is a currency that was created by some people who understood what we understand, that the currency is being debased by the government, and it was intended to be uncounterfeitable, unhackable, undestroyable, and uninflatable. So there's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoins.
Well,
unless they change it.
That's good, but that's what I call it. I don't know if I can get into a real question now, because when the subject keeps changing, I say, well, man, I should probably talk about that instead. So I can do this Bitcoin on myself, and I want to do that. But my original call today, other than getting that Bitcoin out of the way, was we all recognize. I do just that we have less freedom today than we did, say, 6 months ago.
Oh yeah,
big time. When the pandemic started, I think the establishment must have stumbled across something that they just weren't expecting to take. In other words, the fears that people would have about a virus and
that really was
masks.
the perfect.
I see it right now when I talk to my neighbor today, and they are just scared.
It's so sad. It really is. Don, I wish we had more time. I thank you for the call tonight. And he's right. And, why was it this time? Why was it this pandemic? Yeah. Why was it this, infection that actually led to this crazy crackdown? And he's right. The fear that people are out there living underneath is just so disappointing to see people being so afraid. And of course, when people are afraid, they will turn to the state. They will turn to this artifice that they believe is out there protecting them. And we are entering, I think, into a very dark time where people believe in the state to the extent that they are willing to fight others over it and get very nasty. And you were referring to it earlier with people on the streets trying to shout down and attack people physically in some cases over not wearing masks simply because of their fear. It's very scary.
Yeah, I feel like in some ways people are reacting to things based on television shows, right? The Walking Dead, 28 Days Later, right? People are treating this as if it's the zombie apocalypse when it's really just another coronavirus.
Hey, out of time tonight. If you didn't get on, then call tomorrow, because we're back here every single night, 7 to 10 at night Eastern Time. You can join us on the radio, and we'll see you then. And enjoy your weekend. Between then and now, it's Free Talk Live.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had got involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
I'm a little obsessed with My Magic Mud. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, the founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I didn't even know my teeth were coffee stained. A week's worth of use convinced me, and now I use it every 3 or 4 days. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, and I think it cleans better, too. My Magic Mud's available at most local health food stores, Sprouts, Natural Grocers, CVS, Walmart's Natural Beauty Aisle, but I can get it for you for 20% off with coupon code FTL20 at mymagicmud.com. FTL20 mymagicmud.com.
What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone? you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection, you can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.